Welcome in here this afternoon, Thursday, Friday Eve, here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Jeb is here filling in for Carlene. Thank you for joining us. We have a lot going on and a lot happening today. I just want to mention, it's cold outside, as you probably already know. You've probably known that because you're making the commute to school, getting the kids on the bus. But we're also weather aware tomorrow for the mountains, chance of snow. Also, we have some wet conditions for tomorrow. And so we just want you to be on the lookout. We just want to make sure that you guys are safe out there on the roads and going out and about throughout your day on Friday. So again, we are weather alert on Friday. And speaking of the weather, the cold conditions, it's tough for folks who are unhoused or homeless. And the city of Gastonia is doing something about it. Our Anna King is in Gastonia. So Anna, they are, walk us through, they're in the process of opening up warming centers there in Gastonia.
Yes, actually, they have already opened their warming centers. Right now, what they're doing is they're training more volunteers because they need more volunteers with the influx of people coming in to get help. This year, though, the warming center, as you see behind me, is at a different location. It's at Unity Baptist Church. Previously, as you know, it was at the Salvation Army, but the Salvation Army was purchased by another organization, and so now they are turning that into something else, and the warming center will be here. But the same regulations still apply. The warming center is open when the temperature hits 32 degrees or below, and also again, check-in is from 8 to 10 for residents who need to come in here and get warm and get some other resources.
Worrying about getting better.
All right, Anna, thank you for your time. You can catch Anna at 4:30 and at 5:30 with more on the Warming Center there in Gastonia. Again, Anna, thank you. Stay warm out there. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. We want to head now to Washington, D.C., where Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer out of New York and other Senate Democrats are holding a press conference on their health care proposal. Let's take a listen in.
You know, we often get in the blame game around here, but the one group that cannot be blamed are the Americans who are going to be losing their health care. They have no power to address this. So the Schumer plan here is a concrete proposal that would give security to folks in Vermont, and I'm going to be going to Nebraska and Iowa in my capacity as the ranking member of the Rural Subcommittee on Rural America and the Ag Committee. But I'm going to be talking to farmers out there who are going to be saying the same thing as that Northeast Kingdom farmer said to me. We want to protect the health care that families in this country have. And that includes Republicans, it includes Democrats, it includes independents. So we've got a concrete plan. We've had no response. And that means we're just going to abandon families and businesses and Americans who are going to lose in 2026 what they had in 2025. We got to pass this bill.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Blunt Rochester, my colleague.
Thank you. First, thank you, Leader Schumer, for inviting me to participate. It's really good to be here with two senators who I had the honor of serving with on the Energy and Commerce Committee in the House. We did a lot of good work on prescription drugs, health disparities, and a whole host of other issues. And as I stand here, I'm literally thinking and watching the clock in front of me tick. The clock is ticking. Time is running out. There is a sense of urgency for those of us who are standing up here. And so I know the leader would say he doesn't consider this his plan. He considers this the American plan, right? That we do something. And I will tell you, as was said by my colleagues, I come from the state of Delaware. And anyone who knows Delaware knows that we are urban, suburban, rural, and coastal. We have farmers. We have small businesses. We have environmental justice communities that are impacted, even by CAFE standards. And so I will tell you, yesterday, when I was looking at my television and seeing our Republican colleagues at the White House, what I thought they were announcing was a healthcare plan. I was shocked that what they were announcing was something that would make us less healthy. And so as I stand here today, I think about the years of my work in this space of health. I served as Deputy Secretary of Health and Social Services in Delaware and got to see the impact of healthcare. I served as head of state personnel, so I saw healthcare from an employer perspective and how much it costs and how do you keep people healthy. I served as CEO of the Urban League, so I got to see health disparities and how in this country, as rich as we are, we have one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world. So healthcare to me is a basic necessity. It's what drove me to run in 2016 and what I fought for. And times it's sort of like history is repeating itself or rhyming. Because I came in, Donald Trump was president. Republicans had the House and the Senate. And as was said, there were calls for repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act. What we recognize is that the Affordable Care Act is not perfect. But one thing I do know is that that family who has somebody with a pre-existing condition like asthma or diabetes is grateful. That parent who has a kid who's 22 or 23 is grateful. And so what we're saying here is very simple. We have an immediate problem, an immediate crisis, an immediate cliff, and we need to take immediate action. And that's why we're proposing the 3-year time frame to allow us to also work with our Republican colleagues to make the substantial changes that we need to make us a healthier country and to make sure that we have a healthcare system that's working for all of us. I came up here with a whole bunch of notes and really didn't use any of them because it's really that basic. It's really that simple. We're proposing something that will help right now, while we also give time to work together. I have stories of Delawareans, as my colleagues do, small business owners, rideshare drivers, young people who are concerned. For the first time, I had a resource fair. For the first time, people were lined up hugging me, saying, please help us. Please. And so we stand up here on behalf of the hardworking families. And we also stand up here to say, for anyone, including the president, to say that this is a Democratic hoax. Right now, people are looking in their email and in their mailboxes, and they have the receipts. It's happening now. And we need to act now. And so I thank you, Leader Schumer, for your leadership. I'm fortunate that I had the opportunity to also work with Senator Wyden on legislation, the Protecting Patients and Affordable Care Act, that focuses on not just the 3 years, but it is in tandem with this to make sure that some of the harmful things that were already done this year through the Big Beautiful Bill and through regulation are pulled back so that people, again, don't fall off a cliff, and that we're making sure that they're able to navigate this system. Again, I'm glad to be standing here before you, but I'll be happier when we pass this legislation. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you. Questions on this subject? Yes.
Leader Schumer, good afternoon, thank you. Are you concerned that Republicans, have this idea that Obamacare was, quote, the fault of the Democrats, that there's problems with Obamacare, that's why it needs this subsidy? 3 of the 4 of you voted for this in either the House or the Senate before, and that therefore they rely on that as a crutch to say, oh, this shows why Obamacare is broken, and therefore we don't have to do anything about it.
Shows you how out of touch they are. 55% of people who voted for Trump in November of 2024 support extending the credits. 55% of Trump voters. The Republicans are so much in a bubble. They're so out of touch, they don't understand the anguish and concern of the American people. Yes.
Add one thing to that, Chair?
Sure.
I also want to remind us that the disproportionate amount of people who are impacted by these tax credits not going into place are from red states.
Yeah.
Many of those states didn't expand
Yeah, look at them
Medicaid. And that's why many of them are the ones that are going to be impacted. So this isn't a Democratic thing. This is an American problem right now.
It's overwhelmingly supported by people in all parties, including Trump voters. Yes.
Over the last couple of days, there are a number of House Democrats that have presented framework, both bipartisan and the New Dems. Have you had conversations with House leadership about getting everyone on board in the House? I know you said that Democrats in the Senate.
The bottom line is the first thing that has to happen is to avoid the calamity that's going to happen is the 13 Republicans need to vote with us on this bill.
Is that
As for
realistic?
whatever House proposals there are, we'll always look at something. But I don't even see 15 Republicans supporting it right now. You have the Republicans having no plan, no unity. They're busy fighting with each other. Sure, an individual or 2 or 3 people can say this or that. It's not going to solve the problem. Yes.
You have talked about Trump being the key to all of this, and in the past have said that you would call him when the time is right. Do you think maybe the time now calls for a direct phone call to President Trump?
Trump calls this a hoax. What Trump ought to do is talk to the Republican senators and say, vote for this proposal. That's the way to solve the problem. That's just about the only way to solve the problem before the January 1st deadline. Then, I mean, look at it. They don't even have a plan. They don't even have 2 plans they're divided about. They're all over the lot saying many different things, fighting with each other. It's crazy. just crazy on such an important issue that they would have that. Yes.
This bill obviously can't get to 60 votes to overcome a filibuster. Let's not pretend it can. But I understand Republicans don't have a plan, but why not propose something that has some of the tweaks Republicans have asked for? There are at least like 5 to 6 Republicans who said they would vote for an extension with an income cap, with
Well,
something
they have-
that eliminates the $0 premiums.
Ask them what they want to do on Hyde, those 5 or 6 Republicans. Yes.
Senator, why did the bipartisan talks to negotiate a compromise bill fail, in your view?
Well, you can talk to the bipartisan people who are talking, but in the views of the Democrats I've talked to, the Republicans never had a plan that could be even close to acceptable, and they were unwilling to deal with Hyde. I mean, Peter was part of those. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is they couldn't put pen to paper. They couldn't propose something that was concrete, where they could say, we've got 4 votes, or 5 votes, or 6 votes. So it was aspirational discussion, but it never got concrete. So what really was the reality is that there was never an engaged discussion about how to extend these tax credits with specifics offered.
Plain and simple. Yes.
I'm trying to bring all this together in 2 questions, but to follow up, why not ask for that kind of meeting now, as you're saying the clock is ticking? And then 2, I'm still not sure I understand why you're putting this offer on the table, which is a non-starter for so many Republicans.
Okay.
While there's something closer that could get through the finish line.
It is not a non-starter. 13 votes could solve the problem. That's where the onus should be. Putting something together. Putting something together that 2 Republicans might support, when Johnson says he's not going to do anything, when half his caucus doesn't even want to repeal the ACA tax credits. Come on. Come on. The fault is there, not with us. And they can just vote for this, plain and simple. That's it. This subject. Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
I was just going to add, the only way you make progress is you get concrete. What we are proposing is concrete. It might not be the way some of the Republicans want to solve the problem, but they are not being concrete. And the clock is ticking, as Lisa was saying. So this is a good faith proposal. It doesn't mean that Senator Schumer would negotiate on our behalf if there was a concrete counter proposal that was made. But the Republicans really have been AWOL, and the president's been AWOL.
You can't find even 30 or 50 Republicans in the House, even 10 or 12 in the Senate, who say they agree on something.
Right.
So come on, it's ridiculous. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. If you don't get these 13 Republican votes that you're seeking and these subsidies expire, will you continue to push for a legislative fix, or does this simply become a message?
Look, we're always willing to talk. We're always willing to talk to people who want to lower people's health care costs. So far, there's no one to talk to. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Look, just one last thing on that. You all have reported on all the House Republicans while they were home on vacation for, I don't know, 90 days, 120 days, however long Speaker Johnson kept them at home. Dozens of them went to the camera and said that we need to extend these tax credits. You all have reported on them. You know the votes exist. You know this.
Not for 3 years.
But it's not a clean
Well,
extension.
do they want to do a 1 year, a 2 year, or 3 year? Put it in.
Does that imply that you're up for that negotiation for a year and a
Ms.
half?
Stefanik, who's running for governor, has been one of the folks that's been bullying Speaker Johnson. Thank God for that recently, for having the courage to do that and showing some backbone. I appreciate that. And she's told them 1, 2 years. There's others that have said 3 years. Some have said 1, some have said 2.
You know, the reason everyone's so excited here, excuse me, is because they have no plan, they have no unity, they have nothing, and you're saying, why don't Democrats do something? We are doing something. We're doing the quickest, easiest, simplest way to take the burden off the backs of the American people, and they ought to vote for it.
But you open for a compromise, a year and a half, a year? I mean, that's what
First, they got to vote for this. We can talk
That sounds
about
like
things
my way
down
or
the
the
road.
highway.
This is the only solution to avoid the January 1st cliff. Plain and simple.
Chad, you know all the Republicans, man. Show me something.
Yeah,
You know
show
them.
us,
You know
show
them
us
best.
a group of them.
I mean,
You know them best.
There was a
Pull
group,
them in.
Listen, to respond, there was a group of them this morning, a bipartisan group of more than 20 members, including at least a 10 or a dozen
In the House?
Republicans in the House.
Then Speaker Johnson should give them a vote.
In the
Send it
House.
over.
A one-year extension
have
that they're putting on the table
Speaker
today.
Johnson should give them a vote.
What did
and
they
send
say
it
about
over.
Hyde? Did you ask them? Is Hyde in it or not in it?
The
Ask her.
framework they had did not have height limit.
I think your current
Yeah.
policy, yeah.
Well, look, why doesn't the speaker give him a vote? He doesn't care. That's the problem. Mike's got to do the right thing here.
Thank
There's
you.
also not a single Republican House or Senate that's voting for a clean extension.
Why?
I don't, you,
'Cause they don't
honestly,
give it.
because they believe there's
You know why?
fraud in the program, they want an income cap, all
Well,
these
fine.
things.
Then they should propose those ideas with whatever the reforms. That's what I've been saying. The first time I ever heard anyone say anything about these reforms in a concrete way is when Leader Thune lost his cool because he was mad that we were asking for people not to go starving across America. And he rattled off 5 or 6. Has Mr. Thune put it on a piece of paper yet? I've not seen it. Maybe you all should ask him. You're gonna have a press conference for him in a little bit.
But
He's
if
not
you-
doing
But
it.
if you're putting a starting point to talks here at 3 years, the question is, do you want the issue or do you want to solve it?
Republicans
A 3-year
have-
extension does
Republicans
not
have
read as
said-
actually wanting to solve it.
Since 2010, when I came into the House and we passed the Affordable Care Act, Republicans have said, get rid of it, we have our own plan. I don't know how many years it's been since then, but it's been a little bit.
So we're asking you about your plan.
Well,
Right, the 3 years. 3 years is, it's
Republicans have
outside
said they're gonna
of the
replace this
discussion.
thing. Well,
Yeah.
put something on the table.
when the leaders-
What are they putting on the table? Do the Republicans care that their constituents are gonna land up in a hospital bed like I did and then have to worry about trying to find a place to live because they're gonna lose their home or not be able to pay rent? That's what this comes down to. It's about affordability. I mean, it's nonsense, you all.
And I
Look at
guess the question is,
hold
why
on.
not-
Look at this shit right here. You guys see this?
Yeah.
Do you see this? I can attest to the fear that comes with sitting on a bed and not knowing if you're gonna live. I went through it. This is not okay for folks. I mean, I get the posturing and the this and the that and the votes and sure, step back and just, when you're not doing your job and you're worried about your life and your families, what are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? Like, I just hope that everyone can have that conversation because right now it's not happening. It's not.
But that's where I ask, you say 3 years, but Lisa said, others said.
Chad, you know all the
But
Republicans. You
that
show me
sounds
a
like
plan,
you're
brother. I talk to your interns, I talk to everyone, show me the plan.
Would
They
you
don't
be
got one.
interested in a year and a half? That sounds like, when he says
I-
this is the only plan,
I
that's what she
applaud,
said on that.
maybe Liz Stefanik should run for speaker and come up with her own healthcare plan if she's running for governor and show Speaker Johnson what it takes to have a backbone and care about the
Well,
American
Johnson
people.
says the two of them work things out.
Well, it looks like it, huh?
That's what she said.
Something.
Thank you.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy Christmas.
Thank you. What that means is we're gonna be.
All right, that was Representative Ray Lujan from New Mexico with that interesting back and forth there with members of the press. Again, that is a press conference where Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer officially unveiled the Democrats' plan for a health care vote next week. That just wrapped up, and we're going to head to break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. We want to head now to Dedham, Massachusetts, where right now the Brian Walsh murder trial is underway. Brian Walsh is charged with first-degree murder in the death of his wife, Anna Walsh, and it's a charge that he's fighting during the trial. He has pleaded guilty to dismembering her body and misleading police. And right now on the stand is the man who had an affair with Anna Walsh. No, Brian, it's a different guy. Okay. I was reading this headline from NBC 10 Boston. But testimony, disregard what I said, but testimony is underway right now. Let's take a listen in.
Conclusion. As to the last time Verizon was able to estimate a distance of where the handset was when it interacted with the network?
Yes.
Okay. How are you able to do that? Or I should say, when is that, according to these records? That's a better question.
That would be line 828. It would be January 2nd, 2023 at 3:14 a.m.
And how do you know it interacted with the network at that time on line 828?
If you could scroll over, please. The technology is 12, so that means it's a Samsung event. And then if you could keep going over, please. If you could just highlight 828 if you don't mind, just so I could see the column. Thank you.
Okay, so 828, we see 0.024. What's that?
That is the estimated distance that Verizon believes the device is from the cell site located on Reservoir Road in Cohasset, Massachusetts.
And so is that measured in feet, inches, or what?
Miles.
So approximately quarter mile,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Okay. Now, how do you know what direction it is from the tower in Reservoir Road, according to these records? So is it, are you talking that it's a circle or what?
So it would be the azimuth in which...
All right, so that is the Brian Walsh trial happening right now. It's day 4 of that trial. But we want to come back here at home because we want to talk about a story that has dominated the headlines here in the state. We're talking about a federal court, and this is from last week, a federal court allowing North Carolina to use GOP-drawn congressional map for the 2026 midterm elections. Now, this map targets North Carolina's 1st and 3rd congressional districts, impacting a candidate like Don Davis, Democrat Don Davis, who won in District 1. That's in northeastern North Carolina. Julie Kay is here in studio. Julie, you got a chance to speak with Don Davis. Not only did you speak to Don Davis, you are set to speak with a GOP leader in a little under an hour, and some other folks as well. What did he have to say, Don Davis?
So Congressman Davis said that he is running again. We had a moment where these districts, this redistricting map came out, and it looked like it wasn't very likely he'd be able to win again, because the whole point of this map from state lawmakers, state Republicans, is to make District 1, which has historically been competitive but leaning Democrat for decades now, to make that more likely for a GOP candidate to win. So we weren't sure if Congressman Davis was going to run again, but he said this week he's going to. In fact, if he does win, he's going to move to that now redrawn district, which he does not have to do. So interesting, proving a point there. But I got a chance to speak with him, and he said not only is he running again, he says, reaching out to the Republicans in the new district, saying, I'm from this area, like the issues can represent everybody in these issues. I understand Eastern North Carolina. But he also said this redistricting has to stop. This is a thing that we've seen across the country. So his call is not for other Democratic states like California and some others that have jumped into this kind of movement to gain some ground at the congressional level for either party. He's not encouraging other states to do that. He said this needs to end here. This is a sign that this is partisan politics getting in the way of things that actually need to get done for his constituents.
Yeah, and I remember covering his race in 2022, and he mentioned to me, and I also was out there too, in 2022, he was also facing, that map was just redrawn. So it was, I guess the thinking was, oh, this is going to be a tight race. It didn't end up being a tight race at all.
Yeah.
But that is something that he's faced as a freshman congressman.
And he said people are still confused about that one. So
Yeah.
he's getting a lot of support from constituents, but also confusion because for people who don't remember, of course, North Carolina is seen as kind of a purple state. We voted red in the presidential election, but we have a Democrat governor. But we used to have a pretty even split that reflects that at the congressional level, 7 Democrats, 7 Republicans. After that initial redraw in 2022, it's now 10 Republicans, 4 Democrats. This will, it seems like a small thing to just redraw 2 districts to get 1 more seat, but that's already on top of another redistricting. So we've now deeply shifted the representation of all of North Carolina in U.S. Congress in just a matter of 3 years, whether you're on, the side of, yes, this is good, or on the side of this needs to stop. Just because we're in Mecklenburg County, we represent, this part of the state.
Right.
This does represent everybody to some degree.
What is the GOP saying?
So I have an interview scheduled with the chairman of the 12th District GOP.
Okay.
That's our congressional district here in Mecklenburg County. And of course, I expect him to support this redistricting.
Right.
A lot of the Republicans that I have spoken with have said we need to combat things like that are happening in California. Of course, it wasn't California that started it. There were other Republican states that have done this as well, and that's where it really began, looking at states like Texas, for example. But that is kind of the message I've been hearing is this is a call from President Donald Trump, from the federal administration for state governments to do this. Because, of course, the more GOP representation at the federal level, regardless of which state, more likely President Trump's agenda is going to be able to be accomplished quicker. So that is what I expect to hear, is that this is the state lawmakers succeeding in President Trump's call to action for them, and curious to hear what he has to say in general about Congressman Davis's decision to run again. I'm also curious what he thinks about the Republican primary. So 2 have already filed, but 5 in general have expressed interest. So there's probably a lot of people that we have on the table here. There's not one clear candidate necessarily. And so I'm curious to hear what he has to say about who he would like to see get this support, get this primary win, and go against Congressman Davis in the official election.
Before I let you go, you are set to possibly speak with G.K. Butterfield. He held that seat in District 1 for years, endorsed Don Davis, was actually at Don Davis's watch party in 2022. You got a chance. Granted, you're set to speak with him. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Did he say anything on the phone when you spoke with him briefly?
So we are scheduled to speak at around 2. He's actually in Raleigh right now.
Okay.
Doing some other things. But I gave him a call because I was just curious, as someone who held the seat for almost 20 years. I mean, he held this from 2004 to 2022. He, of course, being a Democrat, as you mentioned, supporting Davis, and so that kind of shows you the longevity of how the seat has been, although competitive, lean blue. So I'm really curious to see what he has to say about redistricting in general. And I'm curious to see what he has to say about how this impacts the state, because he's still very involved in not just national politics. You know, he works in D.C. a lot of the time, but also here in Raleigh. For example, today, him talking about his, separate things that he's doing at the State House at the same time. So very curious to see his take on this. Of course, I'm sure he's going to support Davis again, but could be some really interesting context added with his history with the seat.
Yeah, served in that seat for a long time, as you just mentioned, Julie. Before I let you go, when can folks catch your story? Because, again, this is a lot of eyes when it comes to 2026.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. All right. You heard it there. Julie, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nick.
All right. Jeb, what do we want to head to break next? Let's go to weather. Okay. Let's check in on the forecast. We are weather alert tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be an icky forecast tomorrow, so we just want to make sure that you are aware. Let's send it over to Larry Sprinkle, weatherman Larry Sprinkle, for a check of our full forecast.
And you know, if you really want to find some snow, Beech Mountain is a place because they are making snow, and then for tomorrow, probably Mother Nature is going to add to that. But that's where the snowy conditions are at the moment across our area. It has been a chilly day so far. Cold weather in place. We're 44 degrees right here in the Queen City. With winds calm, we're not looking at a wind chill factor today, so that is good news. 44 degrees. Fair skies out there. A little bit of sun trying to peek through. Around the region at the moment, over in Albemarle, Stanley County, 48 degrees there. It's 44 in Gastonia. Down at Rock Hill, South Carolina, 42 degrees. Christmasville starts there tomorrow through the weekend. Our colder reading, Boone, 38. We're once again 44 and fair skies right here in the Queen City on this Thursday. Low temperatures this morning. We dropped to 30 here. It was 29 at Boone, 30 at Chester. It was down to 26 over at Salisbury, over in Rowan County, North Carolina. So the cold air in place. 52 degrees. Interesting. You know, we should be in the upper 50s. That 52 is probably going to be the mildest day, mildest temperature we'll see over the next 7 days before we see any moderation in those temperatures, probably about 10 days from now. 47 degrees at 1 o'clock as we head towards the middle of the afternoon, low 50s. Right around 9 o'clock tonight in this evening will be cloudy and 44 degrees at that time. Our wintry mix, yeah, that would be Friday. So wind early Friday morning until probably about midday. It could start shortly after midnight in the mountains. What we're looking at is rain, snow, sleet mix, primarily north of here. Once again, we talk about the I-40 corridor for the Charlotte area. Not to say that we couldn't get a little bit of a freezing situation, maybe a couple of flakes in there, but just some slick roads early. And I think that really would be anywhere from, say, Davidson, Mooresville, then you go north all the way up to the mountains. Use caution, dress warm, watch for those elevated roadways north of here. You get the slick spots that we normally see in those situations like that. As far as our winter weather advisory, that is from 7 p.m. tonight through about 1 p.m. tomorrow, and that does include the Buncombe County, Asheville area, all the way up to the northern mountains, the I-40 corridor along that, all the way up towards Greensboro, High Point, and Winston-Salem. That's 7 p.m. tonight, about 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. As far as any accumulation, I think maybe some of the higher elevations west of here, the Great Smoky Mountains, could see maybe 1 to 2 inches, a trace to about an inch along the I-40 corridor. I think mainly a little bit less than that. And then for the Charlotte metro area, some sleet, snow briefly, and then just a cold rain, just kind of a miserable morning across the area tomorrow. As we scan the skies right now, nothing here. It's all back to the west and southwest. We see that developing storm system. That's where it is right now. Over the next, say, 12 to 18 hours, that system starts moving in our direction and turns over just to a cold rain. Now, this is 11 a.m., pretty fast-moving system, so I think the bulk of that after lunchtime will be well to the east of the Charlotte area. Futurecast will tell you and show you exactly what's going to happen. This is around 11 o'clock tonight. We start to see some precipitation entering the mountains and some of the foothill locations. This is 2 a.m. Tomorrow morning. Notice the temperature in Charlotte well above freezing, 45 degrees at that time. It's really north of here that we do see the temperatures hovering around the freezing mark. That's where we could see some accumulation. This is tomorrow morning about 4 a.m. north of here. Once again, up Interstate 77 near the Virginia border. Locally, it's all low 40s, a cold, messy rain. This takes us to about 7 a.m. You drive in tomorrow, just cold rain here. If you got travel plans north, that's where the messy precipitation will be. Then I would say by early afternoon, that system is gone and out of here. As far as any accumulation, the potential for a heavier communication and precipitation will be north of here, up Interstate 77 all the way to Virginia. So you got travel plans up towards Beckley, Bluefield. That's going to be a messy situation over the upcoming weekends. We check out that wintry mix potential, Statesville, Greensboro, Hickory, then yes, obviously Boone, Blowing Rock, Banner Elk, all those typical areas that we see that happen. So the potential for snow once again north of here in Virginia, they could get a significant amount. I think likely rain on Friday, a few isolated showers over the weekend, scattered showers are possible as we head into Sunday. Here's the way it looks in the mountains tomorrow. In the 30s up until, I would say, middle of the afternoon, above freezing by about 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. That's in the high country. Hickory, Statesville, Morganton, in that area, notice those temperatures above the freezing mark and a cold wintry mix up there. As we check at that forecast for the next 7 days, our Jerry Hunt Super Center forecast shows about 52 today. We are weather alert tomorrow and 41 for the weekend. Magical Toy Drive, just kind of cold out there. Bring the toys. And the next week, look at those temperatures in the 40s. Monday and Tuesday back to the 50s, but in the middle of next week, that's your forecast.
All right, that is the forecast with Larry Sprinkle, weatherman Larry Sprinkle. Again, we are weather alert tomorrow. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. We want to send you now to Washington, D.C., where President Trump is welcoming the leaders of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo to Washington for the signing of a peace treaty. As President Trump, he just got to the podium speaking. Let's take a listen in.
We have other leaders from other countries, and you said such beautiful things. I'd love to have you come up. We'll finish up, and then I'd love to have you come up, and if you could issue the words that you just issued backstage. It usually doesn't work, you know. It usually never happens. They said it much better before, but you will probably do better up here. But I'd love to have you say how you felt, because it is an amazing day. Great day for Africa, great day for the world, and for these two countries, and they have so much to be proud of. And I want to thank the leaders. I want to thank you very much. It means maybe more because we are here together for the first time ever in this building. Brand new, beautiful building. I don't want to tell you how much it costs because I hear it's a lot. Okay? They don't build inexpensively here. But I just want to thank you very much. So please sit down, everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here. It's a momentous occasion. It's truly incredible setting. It's very few places I've seen like this. In this holy season, we prepare to celebrate the birth of the Prince of Peace. We have come to the U.S. Institute of Peace to sign a historic agreement that will end one of the longest-running conflicts anywhere in the world, with far more than 10 million people killed. Today, we commit to stopping decades of violence and bloodshed and to begin a new era of harmony and cooperation between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda. I want to thank the two courageous leaders. They are courageous leaders. They really are courageous leaders, great people. President Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and President Kagame of Rwanda. They are amazing people, and they had stories to tell me that were incredible. Really fascinating in so many different ways. Sad and beautiful, both sad and beautiful, and today makes them beautiful. I've just held really fantastic meetings with both men and representatives of other countries, where we discussed the importance of upholding this new agreement. Very detailed, powerful agreement. I also want to thank several foreign guests and dignitaries in attendance to celebrate this magnificent event, including the President of Angola. Please, would you stand? And so great to see you. Thank you. The President of Burundi. Thank you very much. Great to see you again. The President of Kenya. We have the Olympics here. You know, they do very well in the Olympics, those runners. I don't know what the heck you do with those runners, but they are very good. I've been watching them for a long time. So we have the Olympics coming to the United States. You know that. Thank you very much. And you'll come as our guest. Thank you. And the President of the Council of Ministers of Togo. Thank you. Thank you very much. The Vice President of Uganda. Thank you. It's such a beautiful color. Like all these guys are wearing these dark suits. You just stand out for a lot of reasons. You're beautiful. The foreign ministers of Qatar. Thank you. Thank you very much. Say hello to my friend, a great man. And the United Arab Emirates. Thank you. Thank you. My regards, right? And the chairman of the African Union Commission, who's done a fantastic job, and thank you for all your help. We appreciate all your help. A special group of people. A very special thanks as well to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Marco, please stand. Thank you. And thank you for putting a certain name in that building. I said, boy, that is beautiful. That blew up last night. They said, that's a great honor. It really is. On this building, it's a great honor. Thank you very much. I assume you had a lot to do with that. Just a little bit. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. And Senior Advisor for Africa, Masad Boulos, who's been fantastic. Thank you, Masad. All of these people, every one of them were indispensable in forging this agreement. Let me also recognize Senators Mike Rounds and Lindsey Graham. Lindsey, thank you. Mike, wherever you may be. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Representatives Ronnie Jackson. Where's Ronnie? Ronnie is a great guy. He won his race in Texas by 48 points, right, Ronnie? So I don't have to ask if he's in any, I don't even have to endorse him anymore. It doesn't matter. Save the paper, right? Great job. Chris Smith. Chris? Thank you, Chris. Great. Good job. Trent Kelly. Trent? Thank you very much. Thank you. And the acting president of the Institute for Peace, Darren Beatty. Thank you, Darren, very much. Thank you very much, Darren. For more than 30 years, one of the worst conflicts on earth has been raging in eastern Congo. Millions and millions of people have been tragically killed, went on forever, and countless more have been displaced from their homes. Families have been destroyed. It's been a disaster. Many administrations have tried, but probably not too hard, knowing who preceded me. But they tried. It said they've tried. But we tried harder to end this conflict. But they've accomplished, obviously, they accomplished very little because the killing went on at levels that just got worse and worse. And today we're succeeding where so many others have failed, and this has become the 8th war that we've ended in less than 1 year. Such an exciting thing to do. This has been a really, because we're talking about 30 years of fighting, 30 years, much more than 10 million lives. Last June, thanks to the efforts of Secretary Rubio and Mr. Boulos, Rwanda and the DRC reached a landmark agreement to move toward peace. They started the process. I met with some of their great representatives who are here also, and we started a great process. The compact we're signing today, which will be known as the Washington Accords, everybody sort of liked that name, formalizes the terms agreed to in June, including a permanent ceasefire, the disarmament of non-state forces, provisions for refugees to return to their homes, and justice and accountability for those who have committed illegal atrocities. Very importantly, this agreement also creates a new framework for economic prosperity. There's tremendous wealth in that beautiful earth. It's beautiful earth, but it was stained badly with blood, tremendous amounts of blood. But in the region that will support a lasting peace, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda have agreed to more closely integrate their economies with each other rather than fighting, and they'll be doing that. And these two gentlemen are very smart, and I think they liked each other a lot. I spent time with them. I think they liked some people may be surprised. I really do. I think they've spent a lot of time killing each other, and now they're going to spend a lot of time hugging, holding hands, and taking advantage of the United States of America economically like every other country does. So they're going to do very well, but they do have some very valuable things. They're going to have a lot of money and a lot of success, and I think they're going to get along really well, so I hope so. Thank you very much. Look at them. Look at the way they love each other. Thank you. So I have a lot of confidence in both leaders. We'll keep these commitments. I know they're going to keep them and follow through on the agreement and create a much brighter future for the people of their countries and their heroes within their countries because of today. This is a big story. And so much is being written and said. All of the newscasts have it at the top of the list. And they are heroes, and we want to keep it that way. Today, the United States is also signing our own bilateral agreements with the Congo and Rwanda that will unlock new opportunities for the United States to access critical minerals and provide economic benefits for everybody. And we'll be involved with sending some of our biggest and greatest companies over to the two countries. And we're going to take out some of the rare earth and take out some of the assets and pay, and everybody's going to make a lot of money. These are just two of the many new agreements related to mineral supplies that my administration has achieved this year, including with Australia, Japan, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, South Korea, and many other countries. With all of these agreements, we're forging new economic security partnerships that protect the interests of America and our friends and partners, and a core feature of my administration's national security strategy, a big part of which is the tariffs. We're taking in trillions of dollars in tariffs. Nobody's ever seen anything like it, and it's given us really great national security. We'll be paying down debt. We'll be making distributions to people. And we're really doing a job. It's amazing. I was with a gentleman, the future king of Saudi Arabia, and you've heard me say this a couple of times, but 2 months ago when I was over there, he said, and actually Qatar is represented today, and UAE is represented, and your leader said the exact same thing, different words, but the exact same thing, that 1 year ago, they thought our country was dead, and now our country is the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're the hottest country anywhere in the world. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We have over $18 trillion, that's just in 10 months, pledged or being invested or pledged to be invested in the United States. Think of that, 18 trillion. The highest amount we've ever had is 1.5. Under the Biden administration, they did much less than 1 in 4 years. Think of that. So they did less than 1 trillion in 4 years. We have 18 trillion in 10 months. It's going to be much more than that, too. No other country in history has ever been close, no matter what country you pick. So I want to thank you again, everybody, for your great vision, and I want to thank the people, especially the people that we named. Some of the others that unfortunately we didn't name, we just couldn't do that. But for your vision and for your courage, because it's made it possible to begin healing old wounds and transcending past differences and creating a future where every child of God can live in dignity, prosperity, and peace. And these are two very good men, and they're two very potentially very strong countries. I'd like to now invite President Kagame to come up and say a few words. It's Rwanda. And then, if I may, President of DRC, who really is doing a great job. These are two men that are doing a great job. And again, they are so respected because of what they're doing today and the mission that they've really, I think, accomplished. And we'll see how it all works out, but I think it's going to work out really great. They want to get on to other ways of living for their people, and they're great leaders. Thank you very much. Please, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Excellency Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, Excellencies, heads of state and government, and former heads of state, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to begin with some words of thanks. First, to my fellow heads of state and government from Africa, your presence here confirms that these efforts enjoy the broad support necessary to succeed. I also thank Minister of State Kulaifi, representing His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad of Qatar. The role of Qatar has been absolutely central in getting us to this point. But of course, the biggest vote of thanks goes to President Donald Trump. No one was asking President Trump to take up this task. Our region is far from the headlines. But when the President saw the opportunity to contribute to peace, he immediately took it. This conflict has lasted for 30 years. We have seen countless mediations and efforts, but none has succeeded in resolving the underlying issues. President Trump introduced a new and effective dynamism that created the space for breakthroughs. His approach is even-handed, never taking sides. He orients us toward the future, not the past, emphasizing that the dividend of peace is prosperity and investment, including from the United States. More importantly, President Trump's approach is pragmatic. The process has not become an end in itself. All of these elements filter down to his dedicated team, and here I want to single out Secretary Rubio and Masad Boulos for special appreciation. We would not be here today without their efforts. And as a result, we have the clearest and most viable path forward that we have ever had. These accords provide everything needed to end this conflict once and for all. If this agreement falters and things do not work out as they are supposed to, the responsibility will not lie with President Trump, but with ourselves. It's up to us in Africa, working with our partners to consolidate and expand this peace. There will be ups and downs on the road ahead. There is no doubt about it. Rwanda, I know, will not be found wanting.
All right, so that is President Trump there with leaders of Rwanda and Democratic Republic of Congo. They're in Washington, D.C. to sign a peace treaty. All right, let's take a step aside and go to break. We'll be back in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. So happening right now, the Spectrum Center, which is in Uptown, undergoing a rapid transformation as crews are, it looks like they're done, but I'm just going to say they are still in the process of converting the Hornets home court into a professional tennis venue for tonight. The second annual Charlotte Invitational. That's where we find our tennis expert, former tennis player, dibble and dabbles in pickleball. Miles Harris is there. Miles, I believe you were there last year.
Yeah, I was there last year. You're the ultimate hype man, by the way, Nick. I just gotta say that. But yeah, we are here, and I am just as excited as you sound when it comes to the second annual Charlotte Invitational. We want to go ahead and give you a first look at the finished product when it comes to the court. Yes, they transformed the hardwood for a tennis court. Very impressive. We saw that done yesterday. A lot of operations crews taking about 6 to 8 hours to transform this into what we will see as really the center stage for seeing some of the world's best tennis players take the court. We are talking about Frances Tiafoe. We're talking about Taylor Fritz. We're talking about Madison Keys coming off of her Grand Slam win earlier this year at the Australian Open. And we can't forget about the legendary Venus Williams as well. Those will be the 4 players taking part in this event. And Nick, I got to tell you something. It's exciting to see tennis being able to take over the Charlotte City, but we also got a chance to hear from the players and even the organizers with the Charlotte Sports Foundation about really the structure of this event. And it means more than just what happens in these matches this evening, but about the community as well. They want to go ahead and grow this event with the sport, with a growing city like Charlotte. We saw them take part in some of the, as we saw the lights cut out there, we saw some of the players take part in some clinics with some of the elementary kids schools around the Charlotte area. They had another clinic here today with Francis Tiafoe hitting with some of the players. But again, some of the prep work still going underway here at the Spectrum Center, Nick. So a lot of excitement to gear up for.
All right, Miles Harris there. The music will kick in as you're wrapping up your live shot. Miles, continue to have fun out there. We'll check in with you at 4:15 at 5 o'clock. That's where you can catch Miles a little later this afternoon. Again, Miles, thank you. All right. Yeah, looks like a good time. I think Miles got a chance to speak with tennis player Francis Tiafoe earlier. So you don't want to miss that a little later when we hear from Miles. All right, let's head back to Washington, D.C., where President Trump is welcoming leaders from Rwanda, also the Democratic Republic of Congo, to D.C. to sign a peace treaty. He spoke earlier. Let's take a listen in to what's happening right now in Washington, D.C.
Based on mutual respect, non-interference, and the joint struggle against the armed groups, the end of all support to negative forces, and the beginning of fair prosperity on behalf of our two populations. I do believe this day is the beginning of a new path. A demanding path, yes indeed, quite difficult, but this is a path where peace will not just be a wish and aspiration, but a turning point. The Democratic Republic of Congo will fully play its part with dignity, with consciousness and consistency, and with the support of our partners. We will remain watchful, vigilant, but not pessimistic. We'll be clear-eyed, but resolutely optimistic. These Washington agreements for peace and prosperity must be for our peoples a symbol of an irreversible commitment to turn the page of confrontations and to open a new era of cooperation and sustainable peace throughout the region. Thank you.
So, if I might, my 4 new friends, a couple of cases not that new. Could you come up, please? Do you mind? Please. They represent so many and so well, so I just want to thank you very much. Good.
Sr. Presidente Donald Trump, Presidente dos Estados Unidos.
All right, so that is that press conference happening in Washington, D.C. We want to send it over now to an NBC special report. The FBI has arrested a suspect in its investigation into pipe bombs planted near the Republican and Democratic National Party headquarters in Washington, D.C. on January 5th, 2021. Let's take a listen into that special report with Tom Yamas.
Near the RNC and DNC headquarters on January 6, 2021. Let's listen in.
Device. This investigation is ongoing. As we speak, search warrants are being executed, and there could be more charges to come. I'm going to let our U.S. Attorney discuss that shortly. This was the work of multiple agencies working together. This morning's operation was carried out safely and successfully. We know that there are so many issues when you're issuing search warrants. Dangerous things can happen, and this was carried out safely and securely thanks to all of the people standing around me. They have worked tirelessly on this. Today's arrest happened because the Trump administration has made this case a priority. The total lack of movement on this case in our nation's capital undermined the public trust of our enforcement agencies. This cold case languished for 4 years until Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino came to the FBI. The FBI, along with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our prosecutors, have worked tirelessly for months, sifting through evidence that had been sitting at the FBI with the Biden administration for 4 long years. Let me be clear, there was no new tip, there was no new witness, just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work, working as a team along with ATF, Capitol Police, Metropolitan Police Department, and of course, the FBI. We are working every day to restore the public's trust. We hope that today is a significant step towards that progress. We'll share more information when we can and when it unfolds. I cannot stress enough how hard Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino have worked for months to make our nation's capital safer and to make our country safer. I'd like to introduce now Director Patel.
Thank you, General. When you attack American citizens, when you attack our institutions of legislation, when you attack our nation's capital, you attack the very being of our way of life. And this FBI and this Department of Justice stand here to tell you that we will always refute it and combat it. We will provide the safest country the nation has ever seen under President Trump's leadership here. And that's what we did here today with great resolve on a case of massive public importance, as it should be. An individual who is now alleged to have placed multiple explosive devices to blow up multiple people and multiple officials, innocent civilians, is now arrested thanks to the brave men and women of the FBI and the interagency. I want to take a moment to thank the Metropolitan Police Department, the United States Capitol Police, our brave prosecutors, the Department of Justice, and our leader, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, whose relentless work on this case made this possible. As the Attorney General said, we did not discover any new information. What we did, an investigation spearheaded by the deputy director and the ADIC of our Washington field office, brought in a new team of investigators and experts, re-examined every piece of evidence, sifted through all the data, something that the prior administration refused and failed to do. As a result of that, we generated numerous investigative leads, executed multiple legal process with our U.S. attorney partners, and came to this conclusion today. And that is why we were able to safely secure this individual into custody. Remember, we are dealing with an individual who is alleged to have made bombs. We cannot do this sort of takedown in haste because it endangers the lives of law enforcement. And this FBI will never allow the lives of law enforcement and our prosecutors to be put in jeopardy. This execution was flawless in terms of teamwork, resilience, and just a good old-fashioned way of police getting the job done. When you let good cops be cops, this is what happens. I'm eternally grateful to the team behind me, to the leadership at the FBI who made this possible. But I do want to highlight, when I introduce the deputy, he made this case and so many others, including Summer Heat, his priority to come in here and solve it for the American people. And today, I'm proud to stand here before you and say, we solved it. He will have his day in court. The American public and the world will learn even more information through the legal process, as we have committed under this Attorney General. We are the most transparent law enforcement operation in U.S. history, but we are also going to make sure accountability is delivered to its fullest extent, and that happens in the courts of law with our U.S. attorneys and our prosecutors. So we will divulge information when it is prudent and constitutionally permissible, while upholding the safeguards of this case to make sure that the people that this individual intended to victimize get the accountability they deserve, and most importantly, to deliver on President Trump's promise to secure our nation's capital and the rest of the cities in this country to make sure that Americans are allowed to go out free and securely in their neighborhoods, and that people around the world are allowed to visit our nation's capital, and they now have that trust thanks to the leadership of the FBI, the Washington Field Office, and I'm honored now to introduce to you Deputy Director Bongino, who spearheaded this investigation.
Thank you all for being here for this critical investigation we've been working on for a very long time. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, Attorney General and Director. I appreciate it. Folks, this is what it's like when you work for a president who tells you to go get the bad guys and stop focusing on other extraneous things not related to law enforcement. This is what happens. We had a great team. I know it's said a lot in this business. It was a team effort. It becomes cliche, but cliches are useful for a reason because they matter, and this was a team effort. The director and the attorney general emphasized that it was not a new public tip this was our internal work at the FBI. And I want to just really express my sincere gratitude to this attorney general and this president for allowing us the latitude. I spoke with Ms. Bondi very early when we, maybe day 2, and I said, we're going to get this guy. And she said, yes, you are. And we did. I want to also thank, he's not here, but Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who we deal with often as well, who could not have been more supportive. Whatever process we need, Judge Janine, Todd, and Attorney General Bondi, they were there. All you had to do, they were a phone call away. And their team was amazing. We actually never had to make that phone call because they were always responsive. And thank you, Judge, as well. You were amazing. Folks, you're not going to walk into our capital city, put down 2 explosive devices, and walk off in the sunset. Not going to happen. We were going to track this person to the end of the earth. There was no way he was getting away. Well, we didn't have to track him.
We've been listening to this news conference from Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Director of the FBI, Kash Patel, that Brian Cole Jr. has been arrested for using an explosive device. They accuse him of planting those pipe bombs back in 2021 at the Republican and Democratic National Headquarters in D.C. Remember, these were pipe bombs that were placed just before the January 6th Capitol riot. Joining us now in studio is both Tom Winter and Laura Jarrett. Tom, I'm going to start with you. They had released surveillance video that we've seen. They released surveillance photos as well of the pipe bombs, of the sneakers. Little by little over these years, they've sort of released some evidence, but it was a cold case for a very long time. Do we know what sort of broke here?
Yeah, it appears to be a review of the evidence. The FBI has used this in the past. I'm thinking of a person who was mailing anthrax around the country. There was a new team that was put on it, Fresh Eyes that was put on it. Some of the evidence here, Tom, was particularly unique, especially the Nike sneakers that they found that this individual was wearing. Only 25,000 of them were made from a period of 2018 to 2021, the morning that these bombs were discovered. You're looking at a photograph of them there. And so that was a unique piece of evidence. This individual had a specific way that they were walking. But what made it difficult is because of the hooded sweatshirt, the mask that this person was wearing, there didn't appear to be an area where they were able to see their face. What was surprising to a lot of people that looked at this investigation is, given the fact that people travel around with phones on them all the time, the FBI has successfully used in the past the ability to geolocate cell phones and try to determine where a person might be. And so that'll be a question as to, was that information helpful? Was that information not initially discovered or reviewed? So there'll be a lot of questions about the investigation based on what the Attorney General said. But the Attorney General did say there was no new tip and no new witness. This was just a review of the case file that ultimately led to the capture today.
And Laura, we've been talking about this. There's a lot still we don't know how they caught this suspect, right? Because these court documents are still sealed.
They're still under seal. We haven't seen them yet. Obviously, the Attorney General and the FBI Director, they're giving a sort of an overview of being charged with making those threats. Anytime you're using the mail, you're using the telephone, you have a federal nexus. That's what sort of triggers the federal charges. But there are going to be, I'm sure, some details in those charging papers that kind of describe some more evidence that we probably hadn't yet seen.
And Tom, our viewers may be listening to this and trying to remember this. It was a chaotic time, obviously, in our country. 2023. It was following the January 6th Capitol riot. This happened at Well, was being reported, and then it sort of dropped off the radar a little bit with incremental sort of updates with surveillance videos or photos or, rewards up to $500,000. It's back on the radar now, and I'm sure in the days and hours ahead, we're going to learn more about this suspect, Brian Cole Jr.
Well, and I think the thing that we want to learn the most is what was the motivation here? Was this person involved in some of the protests or the efforts to protest the results of the 2020 election? This person have their own motives? Is this person more of an anarchist? Was this somebody who just wanted to sow discord on that day? Obviously, a lot of focus on that day and what was expected to be a protest, and then obviously the violence that we saw on January 6th. So there's going to be questions about that, and there's going to be questions about, was this an effort to divert law enforcement to be able to get them to respond if these devices went off?
The pipe bombs were assembled. They did not go off, but they were viable?
They were viable. They had a kind of a kitchen timer on them. This is something that we've seen in terrorist materials before, a galvanized pipe. I've held mock-ups of these bombs before. They are, unfortunately, Tom, a little too easy to make.
Laura, before we get off the air, what are the next steps in the legal process here? He's going to be provided an attorney if he can't hire one?
Yes, he will be presented in court. He will have his first appearance, and then we're off to the races in terms of discovery, and we'll learn more information about his background very soon.
And then, Tom, real quick, we only have about 30 seconds here. There were so many conspiracy theories about this sort of crime, and maybe these will be put to rest now.
Hopefully, once we get those charging documents, we'll get the details that Laura talked about. Hopefully, we'll get some information on the motive. And as they said, the investigation remains ongoing. Hopefully, that informs us on what happened in this.
Tom and Laura, we thank you so much. That's going to conclude this NBC News special report. We're going to have much more ahead on your local station, our streaming network, NBC News Now, online at NBCNews.com, and tonight on Nightly. Thank you.
And we want to take you back now to that press conference with the FBI, also Attorney General Pam Bondi. That's also U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro there to your left as they talk about the arrest of a suspect in the investigation into pipe bombs planted near the Republican and Democratic National Party headquarters back in 2021. That suspect has been identified as Brian Cole Jr. Let's take a listen into what's being said.
You keep hearing the words partnership and team, and that's what we are. And we could not do this without our U.S. Attorney, Jeanine Pirro. Jeanine, from day one, has worked tirelessly for our country and for our nation's capital. It's my honor to introduce my friend, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro.
Thank you very much, Attorney General. And you have been listening to a lot of thank yous and a lot of gratitude. The reason that we're thanking each other to the extent that we are today is because we have seen in this case an incredible collaboration around the clock, in the middle of the night. It doesn't matter. We call each other, we make contact, they need a warrant, they need something, someone wants legal advice. These are the men and women who never give it up. You hear about government employees, but I don't know if you really realize what it is that they do. They are incredible, and this case is big. 4 years, 10 months, and 28 days ago, an individual placed a bomb in the vicinity of both the RNC and the DNC. And for that amount of time, that individual evaded accountability. Today, as a result of the cumulative efforts of the men and women in the FBI and the police department and the Department of Justice, we are finally able to make an arrest of an individual by the name of Brian Cole. As the Attorney General has indicated, he is arrested for transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce, as well as the attempted malicious destruction by means of explosive materials. You know, folks, this case involved millions of pieces of data. And it is a huge win because it was like finding a needle in a haystack. So much of this evidence was very specific, but a lot of it was also very general. For example, there were 233,000 black end caps of the type that were used in this case. I want you to think about the fact that the FBI had to go through the sale of every one of them to try to find commonality with an individual, along with the purchase of the pipe itself, the cap ends, the wires, the steel, and the 9-volt batteries. Every one of those had to be mined and remined to the point where we were able to then connect. And make no mistake, it was this administration, it was this president who made the decision that we were going to use all of our efforts to get it done, and get it done they did. Finally, let me say this. Today begins the formal process of accountability, where this defendant will begin his journey through the criminal justice system. And I pledge to you that the United States Attorney's Office will take this case across the finish line. Again, thank you to the incredible work of the FBI, to the Attorney General, and to our local partners as well. This is a job that I think was well done.
Thank you. President Trump's directive to all of us was to not only make America safe again, but D.C., and to make it safe and beautiful. We could not have done that without our partnership with Mayor Bowser and Chief Smith. It is my honor to introduce Metropolitan Police Department Chief Smith.
Good afternoon, and thank you, everyone. I am Chief Pamela Smith, Chief of Police of the Metropolitan Police Department. Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, and FBI Director Patel for having me here today. For nearly 5 years, the agencies standing here today have worked together under the leadership of the FBI to locate our suspect who is responsible for the 2 pipe bombs that were placed around our city. MPD members assigned to the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force have supported this case from the beginning. That supports include looking, reviewing, and going through countless, probably thousands of hours of CCTV footage from around the DNC and RNC headquarters, and they followed up on hundreds and thousands of leads from members of our communities. What I will say today is that Washingtonians can rest easier today knowing that the suspect responsible for this act is now in custody. This morning's arrest is yet another reminder that committing any act with the intention of harming the residents and visitors of the District of Columbia will result in your arrest. The men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI, the ATF, the U.S. Capitol Police, and certainly the prosecutors at our U.S. Attorney's Office will go to the furthest length. I heard somebody say to the end of the earth, but thank God we didn't have to go to the end of the earth today, that we were able to bring this subject into custody. I want to commend the men and women of the FBI and the members of the Metropolitan Police Department and all of the agencies who are standing behind me today on a job well done. I will turn it over now to Attorney General Bondi.
Thanks, Chief. Excuse me. We're going to take some questions. Just remember, as I said in the beginning, this is ongoing. It's very active. The search warrants are still being executed. Many charges potentially to come. So just keep that in mind when asking your questions.
Jake, Fox News.
So you said it had been nearly 5 years, we all know that, and that you said there had been no new evidence. So can you say anything about the evidence that actually did lead to this arrest? And then secondarily, you're talking about additional charges possibly. Can you say what those you might be considering, or terrorism charges, or what?
We can't discuss new charges, of course, yet. Ongoing. But what I will say is this is why this was so incredibly important, more than any other case, is this is in our nation's capital where this happened. And now, thanks to the FBI, we know that this defendant was living just miles away from here in Virginia. So as to the evidence in the case, I'm going to let Director Patel take that, but it's still very active and very ongoing.
Thank you, General. And as I stated earlier, and as the General's already reiterated, our job is to provide full accountability in the court of law with Judge Pirro's team. And in order to do that, we have to preserve the chain of custody and evidentiary value. What I will say generally is that when you go through 3 million lines of information, y'all can think about the amount of cell phone data that has to be ingested and triangulated and dumped and received. You also have to think of just sheer human ingenuity. We brought in a team of experts who are the best at what they do in their specific fields to reevaluate that evidence, to dive back in, and to not come back with a no for an answer until they had found the suspect. And when you develop evidence, you get a search warrant. And when you get a search warrant, you get an address. And when you get an address, you hit the house. And that's what we did.
Sadie, Wall Street Journal.
Hi there. So what can you tell us about this person's motivations and whether they were driven by politics or for any other reason why?
Right now, it's ongoing. Again, we just executed the search warrant early this morning. It's ongoing. But America's safer, DC's safer because he's in custody.
Mary Margaret, Daily Wire.
Thank you so much. So, any theory on why Kamala Harris is never mentioned coming within 20 feet of being assassinated, and any news on why her Secret Service team took so long to find this bomb at the DNC?
No, but what I will tell you is that evidence has been sitting there collecting dust. This wasn't a new tip. It wasn't some new evidence. It was the hard work of President Trump's administration, Deputy Director Bongino and Director Patel. I watched them from day one come in here and say, we are going to solve this crime. And they did, working hand in hand with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our great attorneys.
Pierre, ABC.
General Bondi, Director Patel, or Deputy Director Bongino, can you describe, was there a particular moment where the evidence is coming in and it's starting to look like progress is being made? What was the moment that you knew that you were on the road to solving the case? If anyone could take that.
Dan, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. I was smiling at you because I certainly remember the moment. Karen remembers it too. He said, "Are you sitting down?" He called me on the phone. I said, "Oh boy, why? Is this bad news?" And he said, "I think we got him." What exactly that tip was, we're going to have to pass on that for right now while we're still, obviously we're in the prologue of a long book. This is just the beginning. This is not the end of the investigation, as you all well know, having reported on these for a long time. There's interviews to be conducted. The search warrant processing scene is not even done. So we're at the early stages, so that's the only reason I hesitate to tell you what the exact tip was. But yes, that was absolutely the moment, and it was due to the diligent and incredible work of a team in the Washington field office that came in and just scoured through this over and over and over and over again.
In general, was it forensic? Was it a phone call? Was it something about a vehicle?
We'll just leave it generally forensic evidence. Yeah, it's fair enough to say.
How long ago was that?
Excuse me?
How long ago that was?
I'd rather not say it because of the ongoing interview process, and I don't want to. Yeah.
I just want to add something to tell you how thorough this team was. That moment that was kind of like the aha moment, that wasn't the end. This team continued to work and work and work to get every bit of evidence that we could get. We didn't stop at that moment, and that's a testament to the fact that the team wanted every possible piece of evidence that they could gather.
One more? What's your question?
One more, Kelly O'Donnell, NBC.
Thank you so much. Have you recovered the notable sneakers? Have you done surveillance of this suspect from that aha moment to when you exercised the search warrants today? And obviously this happened on January 5th into January 6th. How should the public...
All right, so that is that press conference there with federal officials. You see U.S. Attorney for D.C., Jeanine Pirro, also AG Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel, FBI Director, talking about that suspect identified as Brian Cole Jr. from Virginia in the pipe bomb investigation dating back to January 2021. All right, so we want to move away from that and we want to come back home. We want to talk about I guess we want to look forward. Let's talk about the 2026 election. We had Julie Kaye in here talking about redistricting and sort of leading up to the 2026 election. Now, one of the races that we have our eye on is the congressional race, District 11. So District 11, think of Buncombe County, Asheville, and surrounding counties there in western North Carolina. And one of the men who decided to toss his hat in the ring is Dr. Richard Hudspeth, Democrat there from western North Carolina, former CEO of Blue Ridge Health, family physician, recently announced his run for Congress. Dr. Hudspeth, thank you for your time.
Thank you. A pleasure to be here.
Let's get to it. You're there in that area. Why did you decide to throw your hat in the ring and run for Congress?
I've been a family physician here my whole life, but in Western North Carolina for over 20 years. And I've been, as you mentioned, the CEO of a community health center, Western North Carolina's largest community health center. Really spent my career advocating for affordable health care for everyone, because I believe that no matter your income level, everyone deserves access to affordable health care. And I've spent my life providing that. And yet, in the past 10 months, we've really seen a disastrous destruction of whatever healthcare infrastructure we had. We've seen really draconian cuts to healthcare research and the erosion of trust in medical and science information. And I have this really deep desire and obligation to actually continue to fight for health care for people in Western North Carolina. I've expanded access, really quadrupled the amount of providers and access and patients for people in my time here in Western North Carolina, and I don't want to stop there. I want to move forward and not backwards, and that's why I'm jumping into this race.
Let's stay there with healthcare, because there's a poll up on NBC News from the New West Health Gallup survey, and it finds that more Americans are anxious when it comes to healthcare in 2026. We all know what sort of played out with the government shutdown, Obamacare, subsidies. There are lawmakers in the White House still trying to figure that out. We heard from Senator Chuck Schumer earlier on his healthcare plan. Your assessment of that and its impact on Western North Carolina?
So the impact will be great, and we are feeling it already. And people actually, I'm not being over dramatic, they need to be concerned about their health care. The Affordable Care Act subsidies are just really the tip of the iceberg. And when you think about an iceberg, there's a whole lot more damage underneath that we haven't necessarily felt or experienced, but we'll see in the future. We've already seen in Western North Carolina cuts to Medicaid, specifically within the state of North Carolina, that's going to really potentially limit the number of patients who have access to healthcare providers who may drop out of the Medicaid system altogether. We're going to potentially see cuts further on to Medicaid expansion. As you know, North Carolina only expanded in December of 2023. They were giving themselves 3 years to get up to their goal of about 600,000 people. In a year and a half, there are 650,000 people on Medicaid expansion now having access to healthcare. That is at risk. It is particularly hard hit in rural areas. What we will see, likely, more cuts in services, more cuts to nursing aspects in our rural hospitals, where you're going to see threats to the care that your loved ones get when they're sick in the hospital. We will likely see closures to some of our rural hospitals. If you remember, Tom Tillis, when he decided or was forced to kind of back out of the race, he said, I can't vote for this bill because it is going to hit rural North Carolina hardest, and I can't vote for it. And so he was right in that regard. It is a very dangerous prospect of what we see in the future of rural healthcare. Again, and one of the reasons that I'm getting into this race.
And I do want to point out, North Carolina did apply for the $200 million from the Rural Health Transformation Program, which is authorized by the One Big Beautiful Bill. For those who don't know, there are a lot of folks that moved to the Charlotte area, moved to North Carolina, and a lot of folks don't really get a chance to wrap their arms around how rural North Carolina is. I mean, you talk about southeastern part of the state, Robinson County, out west, northeastern North Carolina. how would you describe, and you touched on it, the state of rural hospitals in those parts of the state?
Yes. So first I want to mention, yes, North Carolina did apply for $200 million, but what I call the big barbaric bill that was passed, it cut $50 billion from healthcare in North Carolina. So $200 million for this potential innovation grant is a drop in the bucket compared to the cuts that rural hospitals in North Carolina will see. When our rural hospitals, really in our rural areas of the state, whether it's out east or here in the west, those hospitals are probably 70% Medicaid and Medicare. And they're already operating on super slim margins. When you cut those margins, that means loss of nursing care, loss of services, or closures of those hospitals. So those are very real. There are a number of hospitals and communities already, as I'm out moving my campaign forward, we're already seeing those communities are concerned about whether their hospitals will actually survive what's happening in Washington, D.C. right now.
Sticking with Western North Carolina, obviously, because that's where you are, that's your community. Is the federal government doing enough when it comes to the Helene recovery process? We're more than a year out from Helene, just devastating that area. Is the federal government doing enough?
Absolutely not. Our current representative has a seat on the Powerful Appropriations Committee saying that he was going to help us with Helene recovery, and we haven't seen that happen. We're probably at about 10% in comparison of the 10% of the amount of damage that's been done, where other large natural disasters, hurricane natural disasters, those communities have seen on average about 60 to 70% of influx of dollars into their community. Josh Stein, our governor, came out and said, you know, Western North Carolina is sitting at about 9%. We're probably maybe about 10% now. It was a $60 billion hit to our economy, to our community, to our infrastructure that we are going to struggle to rebuild without federal dollars and federal assistance to that. So just today in our local paper here, one of our local papers talked about that Buncombe County, and there were 5 other counties that are now considered distressed counties economically this year from the state of North Carolina. So we are far from recovered. We continue to need assistance, and we believe that the federal government is failing us in our ability to create a robust rebuilding of our infrastructure, supporting small businesses, supporting housing initiatives to get people back here after Helene in order to support our economy and grow our business.
And one of your platforms, as you mentioned, affordability, healthcare, but also that extends to, as you mentioned, housing, groceries, everyday items. What are the conversations that you're having with folks in your community about being able to afford things, especially coming off of a government shutdown, the uncertainty with SNAP benefits? What are those conversations like?
As you can imagine, those conversations, people are nervous and they're scared. You mentioned SNAP benefits. That was really troublesome to people, and we saw just within the few days that we had issues around that, people really suffering within their inability to get food that they had really relied on. We saw some of those same cuts really in North Carolina. They had what was called a Healthy Opportunity Pilot that covered lots of North Carolina, and the state legislature decided not to refund that. That was the same principle around these SNAP benefits, providing people with, evidence-based but non-medical assistance, whether it's for food, whether it's for housing, etc. I think we know in our communities here in Western North Carolina, as well as I'm sure Charlotte and other places in North Carolina, that housing is a tremendous problem. We see that all along. But all of this affordability ties in together, right? Well, I can't afford my health care, especially when they cut those health care credits and the subsidies, because my rent is so high, because my electric bill is so high, because my auto insurance is so high, my gas is so high, my groceries are so high. All of these things are connected, and we can begin to chip away at what that affordability looks like. Perhaps rethink these tariffs. Get healthcare to a place that makes it more affordable so people can do that. Build more housing in order to help us create, more supply so the demand drives that, so that increase in supply will drive the price of housing down. All of those things are possible. I take the community health center model. The government, yes, gives community health centers some seed money, but we run with that. We hadn't had an increase in our federal community health center grants for over 6 years when I was a CEO there for 10 years, yet we quadrupled our business. That's a great return on investment. And I think if the federal government can drive some of those innovation models that we had in community health around housing and around other important things, childcare, we can really move this country forward in ways that we're not seeing happen right now.
Dr. Hudspeth, you've been so generous with your time. Before I let you go, the 11th Congressional District has been a Republican stronghold for quite some time. Chuck Edwards now holds that seat. When did you make that decision to run, and when was the moment? And was there a moment that you knew this was the right time to run?
So I actually ended up filing with the FEC back in the middle of September or so. So that's really when I got into the race. I think I had been contemplating this and talking to a lot of folks across North Carolina and other politicians, et cetera, to decide whether this was really a possibility. And so that's there wasn't a moment other than when I saw what was happening at the turn of our administration in January and February, March and April, all of these things happening. I felt like it was super important to get into this race. I want to make sure your folks, know that I'm out there on richardhudspethforcongress.com. Please check my website to see what my platform looks like and all of the great things that we're doing around this campaign in order to do it. Yes, it's probably the Cook Report has dropped this to, a little bit less Republican than it has been. We know the largest voting bloc in Western North Carolina are unaffiliated, so we need to hit those folks hard. We know the Democrats are going to come out, and we need to make sure that we're connecting with the unaffiliated voters as well in order to accomplish our task.
I do have one follow-up to that. What does the messaging look like going into 2026 versus in 2024? And I want to clarify that as far as Democrats.
I think the messaging really is, again, kitchen table issues, healthcare costs, childcare costs, grocery costs, lack of affordable housing. None of these things that the current administration that they ran on in 2024 has actually had any improvement since they took office. And from my perspective, what I see is worse. Less access to health care. Housing around Western North Carolina costs more than ever. We haven't seen any change in that other than going up. So these are the things that I think we need to run on. Certainly number one issue is health care. When Roy Cooper announced for his U.S. Senate seat, he said his number one issue is health care. He's our health care governor, and I think partnering with him in order to make sure that we get a advocate for healthcare in the Senate and an advocate for healthcare in Congress would be fantastic.
Dr. Hudspeth, again, thank you for your time. Look forward to speaking with you soon here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Yes, we'll talk soon. And again, thank you for your time. Have a great day.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, that is Dr. Richard Hudspeth there in Western North Carolina running for Congress there in the 11th District in North Carolina. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. All right, so we want to head now to Florida, where a 27-year veteran on the police sergeant there in Port St. Lucie was shot twice in the face during a gunfight with an armed suspect Monday evening and what began as a mental health related neighbor dispute. So we're hearing from the police department there on what happened. Let's take a listen in to that press conference that's happening live right now.
Suspect to the house, okay? So they heard shots as they were approaching. So they feel like they're walking into most likely a gunfight. Sergeant Levasseur was flanked along the house right beside the house the suspect was in. He turned out he was in the garage. Approaching, we didn't know where he was, right? He was reportedly in the garage or in the yard. So they took a position. The vehicle began announcing, calling him out, asking him to step out. And he did step out, immediately turning towards Sergeant Levasseur and firing on him. Once he was done firing on Sergeant Levasseur, he crossed the street to go to the opposite side of the patrol car and fire on the officers who were no longer behind cover. I released that body cam. You guys saw how that played out.
So there were 5 officers sort of hiding behind a car. I use the term hiding, but they were using that
using it as cover. Mm-hmm.
And
they had to quickly maneuver around to the other side to avoid getting shot and return fire.
How far was is it pronounced Riccio or Riccio?
Your guess is as good as mine, sir.
How far was he from Levasseur when Levasseur was shot?
The distance between the two houses, I didn't measure it.
20 feet, maybe, something like that?
Something like that.
Okay.
Just to clarify, when you're talking about 4 officers fired their weapons, were any of the trainees those officers, or so some of the trainees were the ones who fired their weapons?
Yes.
And I know this has been an incredibly difficult time for the Treasure Coast. I know you all still showed up to Mashkow's memorial the other day. How is it, I know you touched on it briefly, but how is it for all of you to know that he is alert, he's now writing notes, making jokes like you said? Has it been a bit of a relief, of a breath where you can focus a bit more on your work, on your families, knowing that he's now out of the woods?
I can speak for myself, and to that degree is, yeah, 100% the first 24 hours, it's deep concern that he won't survive. And as time went on, it became more and more clear that we had a good chance. As far as, the service, you go because that's what we do, and we support each other. And the Indian River County Sheriff's Office was just as supportive of us as we were of them. So we're gonna go. That being said, it was kind of in a numb state being at that service, waiting to hear how Sergeant Levasseur was going to be. So I'm truly eternally grateful that we're not going to be in that situation. It's probably one of the hardest things an agency can go through is losing one of its own on the line of duty. So I know that my team, I have my command staff here with me today, they all probably felt pretty much exactly the same. We've all been working extremely hard since Monday evening. Most of us have had nothing more than a couple of hours a night sleep. We've been busy behind the scenes making sure that Sergeant Levasseur is properly cared for, that he's being watched over, that we got him transported to where he needed to be to get the surgery. A lot of things had to happen behind the scene to ensure that that stuff happened. So it's been an awful lot, and we're glad that we're at the point where we're starting to feel like Sergeant's out of the woods, and we're looking forward to the day that we can greet him at the hospital when he's discharged.
In the past month, you've seen, 2 situations up in Vero Beach and down here where you're responding to a house with a man that people have been calling police about. Talk about the process of responding to a scene like this, because you said they know that in some circumstances they're entering a very dangerous situation. How does that process play out before you guys even arrive?
It requires an awful lot of skill and experience, not just by the officers, but by the supervisors. No 2 calls are identical. No 2 calls are exactly the same. You have to gather as much information as you possibly can and then make informed decisions. As really the best way I can answer that question. No 2 responses are ever the same.
You said, I think, early on that this was a mental health call. Is that what it really was, or did you learn later that it was the marijuana that did all this?
Well, I think anytime you have anybody that's in a state of mind where they're going to fire on responding police officers unprovoked, I think that their mental state is certainly questionable, and that's probably what I was alluding to in that comment. I would say in this situation, I think, based on what I'm being told, and I've never met this man, that it was a drug-induced state that he was in. His mother said that he was something along the lines of delusional and hallucinating. So I think it was more likely substance in this case. He has no history that we have identified of mental health crisis, no Baker Acts that we could find, and none that the family has disclosed to us.
You say he had 20 guns in his house. What's your reaction that he had so many weapons in there? What do you think he was intending to do?
Again, there are a lot of people that have a lot of weapons and they're responsible gun owners and they're in the right state of mind. So having 20 guns in and of itself doesn't faze me terribly so. I think the presence of a ballistic vest, a gas mask, a flashbang, non-perishable survival food, that starts to paint maybe a different picture. I don't know a whole lot about this man at this point and his history, but it's concerning that he's preparing himself for some type of battle at some point.
Are you looking at his online activity to see if you can find anything about what he had going on in his mind?
Absolutely, we are. I just don't have a whole lot of information on that at this point.
Okay. And if you don't mind, one more time, could you kind of explain where he was when the shots were fired and
where who was?
I'm sorry?
Where who was?
Where Riccio was and where Sergeant Levasseur was when this shooting unfolded. What happened next?
So the two houses are side by side. Sergeant Levasseur's in front of the next door neighbor's house, and the suspect steps, no, actually I think he was down on one knee, comes around the corner from the garage, immediately points it at the sergeant and fires on him. So after the sergeant dropped, he exited the garage, ran across the driveway, out into the street, to the other side of the patrol car, and then started firing at the other officers.
And then he was shot and killed in the street out there?
Absolutely.
Okay. I spoke to a neighbor who said he thinks there were 30, 40, 50 shots fired. Do you know how many shots were fired?
I do.
How many were fired?
10 by the suspect and 62 by police officers.
72 shots?
62.
I mean, total of 72 shots.
Right. 10 by him, 62 by us.
The AK-47, how many shots does that weapon hold?
Depends on the size of the magazine that's placed in it. At this point, I don't know what the capacity was on his.
Was the suspect, was he visiting his mom? Was he living there? Do you know?
I have the understanding he lives there.
He lives there?
Yes.
Do you know what he does for a living or did for a living?
I don't.
Jeff, excuse me, Jeff Alexander, Hometown News. Did you say there had or had not been any calls about this man even within the last week? This is the first time?
We have no history with that man in that residence.
And just for the record, I know Sergeant Levasseur is a 27-year veteran. How old is he?
55?
55? Okay, thank you.
Chief, what would you say to our community that is certainly experiencing rapid growth? I know me personally, I've lived here since 2005, and there has certainly been a large growth. What would you say to your community, to the constituents that are here that might have some reservations? What would you be able to assure them of?
I'll say that in a community this size, or smaller or larger, anywhere in the country, you're going to have incidents. Where you have people, you're going to have incidents. You're going to have incidents of crime. You're going to have incidents of mental health. You're going to have the whole gamut. Our rate of crime and incidents is extraordinarily low. That being said, we're not going to be immune from tragic incidents. We're not going to be immune from violence. No matter how hard we try, no matter how many police officers you put on the street, people are going to bring calls for service and problems. That being said, our crime rate's extremely low. I will say it certainly feels, as of late, we've had more than our fair share of traumatic incidents, but I attribute that to the holiday season coming, and people tend to get a little bit anxious, and they go through different types of emotions this time of year, so it's not particularly unsettling for me at this point, although anytime we have to deal with an incident like this, it's going to be rough. And I know that the community is feeling this as well as we are. And again, their support has been incredible, so we're just so thankful for that.
Did Levasseur have the surgery
Ladies and gentlemen, we just have time for about 2 more questions. We'll be happy to assist you after those 2 questions. Thank you. Just further.
I heard he had the surgery in Orlando, is that right?
I'm going to not disclose the location because he's currently there. So for his safety, I'll let everybody know where the surgery occurred when he returns to Fort Pierce.
Did he have shrapnel in both eyes?
Yes, he did.
So you know, sir, whether he'll retain his vision or?
I don't know.
Possible he may be blind from this?
I don't know what the outcome's going to be. We're very hopeful, but at this point, he's bandaged up, so there's no way to tell what's going on there.
We're looking forward to a good day.
We are looking forward to the day that he is discharged from the hospital and we can greet him and give him the hero's welcome. Yes, and we're very grateful that we're going to have that opportunity.
All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just one last thing. On behalf of the Hometown News, I've been asked to express their sympathy for everything that you, the community, has all gone through, and anything that Hometown News could.
All right, we're coming back out here from Florida. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We want to take you out live to Minneapolis. This is Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Now, earlier this week, he signed an executive order prohibiting immigration enforcement operations on some city-owned properties as federal agents continue conducting ICE raids across the Twin Cities, including in Somali and immigrant-rich neighborhoods. That's according to KARE 11 News, our content partners there in Minneapolis. Let's take a listen in to what Mayor Frey is saying.
As Americans, we value the Constitution. As Americans, we value fairness. And here's the thing, for those constitutional scholars out there, whether you're on the left side of things or the right side of things, you should be losing it right now.
Yes.
Because this is completely and blatantly illegal and unconstitutional, what the guy's talking about.
On that question before about what we're seeing, so what we're hearing from our community, the Somali American community here in Minnesota, is that a lot of people are extremely fearful. Many people have now decided to carry a passport on them because what we're seeing is federal officers, ICE agents, who are terrorizing our community, who are going to malls, who are going to places of worship. As our mayor said, scattered around in schools, So they are here. We see their presence, and this is what we're hearing. In fact, there was one story of an individual who lived in this country for 25 years, who is a U.S. citizen, was asked and ID'd if he is a U.S. citizen or if he has a passport in this country. No American should be asked for their passport or for their identification. These are Americans, these are Somali Americans, and that's what we've been hearing, and we're not gonna back down on that. We're American, we're Somali American here in our state.
Have you heard of any arrests since this all started? People being detained, taken into custody?
Yes, people were arrested.
Can you say when?
Yes,
and where?
actually we are receiving multiple calls, and we're seeing people basically saying so and so was taken out. I don't exactly know the place and time, and families are really scared. As he said, they have visited a few days ago the Carmel Mall, which is the largest Somali mall in this area, and people are scattered. Even the citizens are scared of. And one of the guys who went on social media live was stopped, and I know him personally. He was stopped, and he's a U.S. citizen, and they asked him his identifications, and there were kind of like arguments between him and the ICE officers. So it is not just talking; it is real. They visiting homes and businesses. There was another lady who had a business, and it was also on social media. She posted, and he was saying she was asking them, leave. You don't have any reason to be here. And she knew the law, so she was able to kick them out of the business because they were trespassing, and that's what they do. Wherever they go, they trespass. So it is not an individual cases; it is multiple cases through the state, and specifically in this area of the Twin Cities area, and the community not only.
So with that, if there are any other more questions, you can find some of the speakers that spoke today, but just want to thank the press for being here and for our neighbors for coming along and being here with us today. And once again, we're One Minnesota. We're greater than fear. We're not going anywhere. We're here. This is our state, and this is our country. Thank you so much.
All right, so you see there that is Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Also looks like other religious leaders, the Somali community there, following an executive order signed by Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, prohibiting ICE enforcement activities in some city-owned spaces. Now, this comes as President Donald Trump said he did not want Somalis in the U.S. because, quote, they contribute nothing. Again, I'm reading this from KARE 11, our content partners there in Minneapolis, St. Paul area. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Ooh, it is cold outside, and it looks like that cold weather is not going anywhere. We're actually weather alert tomorrow. Let's check in with our good friend, co-worker, good friend. This is interchangeable. Larry Sprinkle with a check of our full forecast.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. Checking across the area today. It's still rather gray skies, kind of gloomy out there. A little sun trying to peek through as we take a look at uptown from our WCNC tower cam. Low temperatures this morning. We hit 30 here in the Queen City. It was 27 in Morganton, 28 Lancaster in South Carolina. Over in Wadesboro, they dropped down to 25. That was matched. Now, also definitely was a chill in the air this morning. High temperatures today, for the most part, locally. We're talking about, I would say, over much of the area, we're in the low, even mid-50s east of here. Temperatures still below average, but not quite as low as it's going to get over the next 24 hours. Overnight tonight, we're looking for an interesting array of temperatures. Overnight, dropping only into the upper 30s here. That's a good signification of the fact that it's probably just going to be a cold rain here north of here. We see temperatures in the low and mid 30s, even upper 20s in the mountains. That's where that icy precipitation definitely will fall. We could see some accumulation in some of those areas. So tomorrow is a weather impact alert day with the potential for some wintry weather across at least parts of the area. Now, this is for the Boone region tomorrow. We're talking about temperatures below freezing in the morning with some snow there. Then by the afternoon up to the mid-30s and just cloudy skies in that area. That's for Boone. Now, for the I-40 corridor, that does include Hickory and Statesville over towards Morganton in that area. Tomorrow morning, they may see kind of an icy mix early on, but I think mainly just a cold rain in those areas. Notice the temperatures do drop back into the mid-30s between about 9 and 11 tomorrow. That's in the Hickory, Statesville, Morganton area. And for the Charlotte metro area, we're talking about temperatures all day long in the 40s. We just see a cold rain here and higher elevations. Once you get up above us a couple thousand feet, there may be some snowflakes, but not expecting any accumulation. Just a cold, rainy day. So that wintry mix in effect Friday, early Friday till about midday. Then it's gone and out of here. Now, snow, sleet, rain mix mainly north of here. Up towards places like maybe Mooresville up to Statesville. Then you get into areas up towards Boone, Blowing Rock, and those areas over towards Wilkes County. That would be snow. So use caution, dress warm all day tomorrow. Watch for those elevated roadways north of here. That would be the icy conditions in those spots. As we scan the skies, nothing here. We look back, widen the view out. It's really back to the west and the southwest. We see all of that precipitation mainly tracking to our area between, say, late tonight and early tomorrow morning. A lot of heavy precipitation down towards New Orleans in the deep south today. We're precipitation free today. Now, over the next 24 hours, things do change as that storm systems moves in our area. And then by tomorrow afternoon, it's out off the Carolina coastline. So really, I think it's overnight, early tomorrow morning through mid-morning that we see our better chance of that precipitation. But this is by noontime, everything is well to the east of us at that time. Futurecast, we take a look and show you around 11 o'clock tonight. Wintry precipitation north of here, just a cold rain here. All the way to 4 a.m., more cold rain here, I-40 corridor, wintry precipitation, and the cold rain up until midday, and then we just see dry conditions and cold, so that snowfall potential really, the I-40 corridor, especially in the mountains. You get in Virginia, they're definitely going to see some accumulation up there. Here's your Jerry Hunt Super Center 7-day forecast. We're 52 today. We're weather alert tomorrow with that messy situation in the morning. Saturday, that's Magical Toy Drive Day over at Bell Carolina Place. Remember to bring out a new unwrapped toy for a kid. I think things should be okay, just kind of cold, but put you in the spirit. A few showers to Sunday. I think a better chance we could see more rain. Just a chilly, rainy day on Monday. We're in the mid-40s on Tuesday, and looking ahead to the middle of next week. In fact, by next Wednesday, we're actually back into the low 50s. That's your forecast. Have a nice day, and be careful tomorrow all day long.
All right, that's Larry Sprinkle with the forecast. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. So just moments ago, we heard from CMPD and other law enforcement officials regarding safety, especially as we are in the thick of things as far as the holiday season. Let's take a listen in to what law enforcement officials had to say just moments ago.
Good afternoon. My name is Crystal Fletcher. I'm a lieutenant with the Public Affairs Division at the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. Thank you all for being here today. As we enter into the busy holiday season, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department is launching a proactive initiative to ensure our community can enjoy the holiday safely and confidently. Today, we'll share how this effort combines increased strategic visibility, strong partnerships, and a commitment to accountability. It is my honor to introduce our new Chief of Police, Estella Patterson, who will outline the details of this initiative and speak to the progress we're making together. Chief.
Thank you, Lieutenant Fletcher, and good afternoon to everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. Truly, it is an honor and a joy to be back in Charlotte and as a member of CMPD, a department that has meant so much to me throughout my law enforcement career. Joining me today is a whole host of law enforcement professionals, local, state, and federal law enforcement professionals, elected and appointed officials, and community stakeholders who care as much as I do about this community and our great city. With me today, we have Mecklenburg County Captain Ricardo Preacher. We also have Mecklenburg County ABC Law Enforcement, Kevin Stone. We have our DA, Mecklenburg County District Attorney Spence Merriweather. Also to North Carolina State Highway Patrol Colonel Freddie Johnson is with us. We have our North Carolina ALE Director Brian House, all the way from Raleigh. Thank you. Also to our U.S. Attorney of the Western District of North Carolina, Russ Ferguson. We have one of our community members and leaders, Charlotte Center City Partners, Mr. Michael Smith. Also I have members of our executive team from CMPD that are here with us and some of our command staff as well. And additionally, I'm extremely grateful that we have our mayor, Val Lyles, with us today. Members of our council are here, always standing side by side with us, supporting the efforts that we're doing in our community. To each of you, I say thank you so much for being here and for supporting what we are doing with CMPD. As everyone is aware, my journey as Charlotte's police chief is just beginning. However, even in this first week, I want to make it clear that continuing to reduce violent crime and disorder and addressing the perception of crime are among the priorities that I have established to build a safer and a stronger city. And this is why we are here today with this press conference to introduce the launch of our Operation Safe Season. Before providing information on this operation, I just want to share with you that I am pleased that our overall crime in Charlotte is down. From the months of January to November, we are down 9% compared to last year this time. Also, I'm proud to report that we have an overall 20% decrease in violent crime and a 6% decrease in property crime year to date. This achievement, of course, is a direct testament of the hard work, the dedication, and the professionalism of our officers and the work that they do every single day, along with the many members of the agencies who are standing with me on today. To our officers and our law enforcement partners, I say thank you for your service. It is really making a difference. While overall crime is down across the Queen City, crime in our central division or our center city has been in the spotlight. Year to date, property crime in Central Division is down, and I'm very pleased with that. We have seen some significant decreases in our burglaries, which we are happy for. However, our violent crime in the Central Division is up 15%. This includes 10 homicides in 2025 as compared to 4 in 2024. As well, we have seen a 15% increase in aggravated assaults compared to the same period last year. While we understand that conflicts arise, arguments happen, disagreements occur, none of it should ever end in tragedy. Violence is never a solution, yet we're seeing that more and more every day. We are committed as a group to addressing this along with aggressive panhandling, drug usage and sales, which are initiatives and things that have, or crimes that have been focused on by our Crown unit and also our EDU or Entertainment District unit. While we have seen some decreases in crime, and I'm proud of that, we recognize that safety goes beyond the numbers. Truly, safety is about a sense of security, people being secure in their homes, in their neighborhoods, and their places of work and other places where they enjoy. With that in mind, beginning tomorrow evening, we will launch Operation Safe Season, which is a multi-agency operation that is aimed at promoting safety during the holiday season when we tend to see those increased foot traffic and events happening, particularly in our uptown area. Our focus will be the center city, and we will expand to other areas of the city where we see crime occurring or where we see repeat incidents of violence. Operation Safe Season is about being proactive. It's about being visible. We're going to be increasing our presence during peak entertainment times and hours, reducing opportunities for violent and property crimes, and we're going to be doing it through saturation patrols, through law enforcement and traffic enforcement of safety violations, and strict enforcement of nuisance and quality of life crimes. We want families and visitors and businesses to feel confident that Uptown is a place where they can gather safely. But we also want offenders to know that if you come to the Uptown to commit crimes, you will be held accountable for those crimes. While we will not discuss specific operational details of Operation Safe Season, the public can expect to see an increased presence of law enforcement beginning tomorrow evening and into the coming weeks, particularly here in the center city. We are taking an all-hands-on-deck approach. Specialized CMPD units such as our CRU or our crime reduction units, as well as JADE, our Juvenile Accountability and Diversion Empowerment Team, our motors, our DWI Task Force, our Crime Gun Suppression Team, and our Firearm Task Force are just some of the units that's going to be assisting with this operation. Also, too, North Carolina ALE and ABC will be visiting businesses and educating them on applicable laws and taking enforcement actions as necessary. North Carolina Highway Patrol will do what they do. They do a lot. But them and the FBI and other law enforcement partners will be right by our side, supplementing the work that we are doing. Private security will also be enhanced and have visibility along our rail trail. All of our personnel will be visible, will be approachable, and we will respond to anything that occurs in our city. Let me close by saying that Operation Safe Season isn't just about seasonal enforcement. It's about reassurance. We want people to feel safe coming to our Uptown, supporting our local businesses, and enjoying all that our city has to offer. We are confident that our collective efforts of local resources will have a lasting safety impact on our Uptown and will spread to other parts of our city. At this time, I'd like to invite Mecklenburg County District Attorney Spencer Merriweather to speak on a critical component of our strategy, which is prosecuting criminal actions and holding offenders accountable. Mr. DA.
Thank you, Chief. Good afternoon. Again, I am Spencer Merriweather. I have the privilege of being the elected district attorney in Mecklenburg County. Today, the district attorney's office is pleased to join with the leaders of many of the agencies you see assembled behind me, and especially with a new and returning partner in Chief Patterson, to demonstrate our collective intent and dedication of resources to keeping our neighborhoods and our communities safe, especially during this holiday season that should be a period of joy and of peace for families in Mecklenburg County. This is especially true in our center city, which has offered generations of families happy and meaningful holiday memories. Now, our top priority in the district attorney's office remains the prosecution of violent crime. That was best evidenced by the 3 people convicted at trial of first-degree murder just last week, and dozens of others convicted of other violent offenses over the course of the last 2 months. And yet, both violent crime and quality of life crime committed by repeat offenders have been the focus of our heightened attention in Uptown and the Entertainment District. It's the reason why we have devoted increased attention to trial time and to crimes that have been the focus of CMPD's Crown Initiative. And now we have prosecutors in the district attorney's office who have been specifically assigned to focus on repeat offenders in this district. This is a model that can and will be replicated in neighborhoods across this county. New state laws around pretrial release, many of them have gotten a good bit of mention over the course of the last week, can certainly, involving pretrial release, have certainly can interrupt criminal activity not only in Uptown but elsewhere. But there are some other important laws that have gone into effect over the course of the past week that will enable prosecutors in your communities to ensure that accountability for those who might threaten safety and peace of our community. On December 1st, Senate Bill 311 went into effect. And among other things, it increased punishment for convicted felons who commit new felonies with firearms. Specifically, it provides new enhancements for felons who possess, brandish, or discharge a firearm during the commission or the attempted commission of a new felony. Combine these new changes with new punishment enhancements for those that manufacture, sell, or deliver fentanyl, and your prosecutors now have a number of new tools to utilize for the protection of the people of this county and the people of this region. And I want to be clear, where the evidence can support it in our center city and elsewhere, we will not hesitate to employ these enhancements. Operation Safe Season is critical because it will provide our center city a first step for exactly the kind of enhanced law enforcement presence that all of our neighborhoods need, especially as our communities grow and as we face increasingly complex challenges within those communities. Local, state, and federal partners all working together. I'm especially pleased to be here today with my colleague, the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina, Russ Ferguson, with whom we will continue to collaborate on priority offenders in Uptown and beyond. Every prosecutor knows that an enhanced law enforcement presence equates to a more instant and a more fulsome response to crime as it happens. More instant response time means an improved chance at collecting the critical evidence that can enable the successful prosecution of violent and repeat offenders. In accomplishing this, Operation Safe Season sets a blueprint for exactly what prosecutors need to protect the community and to uphold the rule of law. As always, we are proud to stand with our justice partners in ensuring safety and securing peace this holiday season and always. And now I introduce you to our U.S. Attorney.
Thank you, Spencer. I appreciate it. I'm Russ Ferguson. I'm the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina. And first of all, I wanted to welcome the Chief back to Charlotte, congratulate her on her selection as Chief of Police. We're so happy you're here. And second, I'd like to commend you for hitting the ground running, which is exactly what our Chief is doing with this new initiative. And you know, safety in Uptown is so important. And it's not important because the people that live in Uptown or the people that work in Uptown are more important than any other residents in Charlotte. But it's important, as Spencer put it to me one time, downtown Charlotte, uptown Charlotte, is our city's living room. It's our hub, a literal hub of our transportation system. It's where our major sports and entertainment arenas are. It's where people from all corners of Charlotte come to enjoy our parades, our festivals, our parks. It's where the majority of our hotels are, our visitors come. Our convention center is the artery of Charlotte. And as a city, we have put a tremendous amount of investment into our center city with the help of Charlotte Center City Partners and others. And we've invested in all these things, the entertainment venues, the stadiums, the parks, the convention center, but all of that will be for nothing if Uptown is not safe. And really all of that will be for nothing if Uptown doesn't feel safe. And so much of this initiative is making sure that throughout this season, people feel safe when they're enjoying all the amenities of Uptown that we've worked so hard to build. But it will also help safety throughout the city. This is not just about Uptown. It is our boldest criminals that come downtown and frighten, that intimidate, that victimize people, that come from all parts of the city and they leave Uptown and go to all parts of the city. And not just the city, but beyond that, to other counties in my district here in Western North Carolina. They don't know borders. Crime doesn't know borders. They come and they go. Violent actors do not respect boundaries. So this is extremely important, and at the federal level, we're very proud to join Chief Patterson in this effort, and my office is fully committed to it. We will use every federal tool available to bring people to justice who commit crimes uptown. We will work together to focus on individuals who are driving the violent crime in uptown, those who are carrying illegal guns, those who are engaging in violent crime and have violent criminal histories, and those repeat offenders who continue to wreak havoc on our streets. If you commit a federal crime in uptown, you will serve federal time. We've indicted 159 drug crimes so far this year in my office, and we have more to come. And with this initiative,
All right, we're going to cut in here. We can always go back to this CMPD discussion here on safety at large in the Charlotte area, but we do want to bring in Walker Lawson in our 3 to 4 o'clock hour. I'm Colin Mayfield. Walker, you were reporting on some of the weather preparedness, I guess, pieces that the high country is getting ready for. What did leaders up there tell you?
Yeah, well, they're getting ready. That's the first thing. Clearly so ready that I left my jacket on in here. So trying to stay warm from the cold weather, but we were able to go up to Lenore today and speak with Blue Ridge Energy. This is one of these energy companies that will be impacted, of course, with all the people that they serve in the area. So they were kind of talking about how last minute things are being done now, making sure the chainsaws are ready. Obviously, a lot of trees that have fallen over and stuff from Helene. There's still a lot of weaker trees and limbs up there. So with the heavier wet snow that you could be seeing mixing in with that sleet, freezing rain, all the wintry precipitation that we're looking at, potential for the mountains. So making sure their crews are ready. But again, most people already know this, but trying to stay off the roadways. The system is, of course, going to move out of the area by early afternoon. But if people can avoid being on the roadways in the morning tomorrow, that is the best bet. Of course, we're going to see a lot of precipitation overnight, thankfully, so this will be a good thing. But leaders, again, urging people to stay off the roads. Now, as for DOT and crews, they have treated the roadways, so all your primary roads have been treated, and you will see them out frequently. So some of the counties, it's interesting, they said that some counties have at least a dozen people working. Some of them will have 40 to 45 different trucks, so it's really stationed out based on who's expecting more of that weather.
Blue Ridge Energy was one of the companies that had a massive amount of work to do after Helene. Did they say anything about any lingering outages from Helene or anything that they're watching in terms of the infrastructure that they had to replace last year because of the winter weather? They're expecting anything in that realm?
Yeah, so he talked about how they really feel prepared for this winter storm because they've done so much work and so much recovery. Okay. They said as of now they feel pretty comfortable with the way things stand, but it was just they are prepared, and they're telling people that because it's been a long last year in this area.
Yeah, as far as the roadways there, I mean, they clear them pretty quickly, but a lot of those places in and around the high country were closed. Because of Helene as well, infrastructure issues. So I'm sure that that's something that they obviously have been watching. But, there's a lot of areas that I think folks should definitely be leery around if they are going to be up in the high country over the next couple of days. And really, Spencer, North Carolina, there's another, the Tweetsie Railroad. They're all doing these Christmas events. So I do think a lot of people are going to be in and out of the mountains this upcoming weekend as we head towards Christmas. So, just use caution. Obviously, you never want to give yourself as much room and space in front of the car and obviously behind you as well. So appreciate that, Walker. Anything else that came up that maybe you wanted to discuss in terms of preparedness?
Yeah, just making sure that if you have to get in the car, make sure your car has the essential items. You have water in there, you have blankets, you have jackets, things of that nature. Making sure everything's fully charged tonight as we head into tomorrow, and then the story will air at 5:15 and 6 tonight, and then I will see you guys in Boone tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. So
all right, man,
we'll be there.
Sounds good. Well, I hope at least it snows so that you're there for a good reason and able to exactly and report on something that's a little bit more fun than just seeing freezing rain, but we appreciate that. Obviously gonna obviously create an impact for folks that are headed out tomorrow and throughout the weekend. So Walker Lawson, thank you so much. We'll wait for your story tonight at 5:15. Guys, we're gonna go to a 2-minute break. We'll be back right after this and go back to the CMPD discussion right after this. We are back. CMPD has been discussing holiday safety and obviously, all their efforts that they are ramping up for Christmas and beyond. We've got a lot of Christmas markets and obviously down at Truist, the festival that's ongoing. So let's listen in more on what their efforts are hoping to curtail.
We'll remove the worst of the worst offenders from the street. And in federal court, it matters because in federal court, you get significant time. You get significant time in federal court, and there's no federal parole. So know that if you're going to commit a crime in Uptown, you are not going to be through some sort of revolving door at the jail down the street. You'll be in a federal prison for a very, very long time. So we're looking forward to working with CMPD on this. We'll work with CMPD to identify patterns and hotspots and individuals. I'm looking forward to working with the DA's office. We'll review cases together. We'll fast-track cases that can go to federal court because when Uptown is safe, and like I said, when Uptown feels safe, Charlotte as a city will thrive. Our hotels and restaurants will be full of visitors. Businesses will move here in droves as they are ought to do, and they will bring opportunities for our residents. Our parks will be full of our neighbors. Daily transit commuters will be safe as they take the bus and the train and the streetcar. Small business owners and workers who keep our city running will do so without fear. Charlotte will continue on its trajectory from a world-class city that it is to the absolute best city it can be. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Patterson, District Attorney Merriweather, and U.S. Attorney Ferguson. We appreciate the support of the agencies here today, as well as our community's assistance in keeping Charlotte safe. Operation Safe Season is about partnership, prevention, and presence. Together, we're making sure Uptown is safe, welcoming, and ready for the holidays. We encourage community members to remain vigilant and report suspicious activity now and throughout the year. If you see something, say something. Call 911 to report suspicious activity immediately so that our officers can respond and address concerns in real time. The public can also share information that could help solve crimes anonymously through Crime Stoppers by calling 704-334-1600, using the P3 Tips mobile app, or visiting charlottecrimestoppers.com. Your eyes, ears, and voices can make a difference in preventing, solving, and prosecuting crime. We will now take a few questions, so if you would let us know what your name is, what affiliate you're with, and who the question is for, we would appreciate it.
Hi, Michael Warwick with WBTV. Is there a warning, Chief Patterson or Mr. Merriweather, to juveniles who may think that there are some limitations to how the law can penalize them? Those kids who may plan to go uptown for the holiday season and stir up trouble or whatever, what would be your warning to them that there are penalties that it can hurt you in the long run?
Yeah, absolutely. For our juveniles, we understand that they're young people. They want to be engaged. They want to be in the community. They want to enjoy the festivities of the Uptown and other parts of our city. We will say to the juveniles that you have to follow the law. You have to be responsible. And when you don't, we have our JADE unit that is monitoring, that's going to be out there, that is going to be talking with these juveniles and intervening. We know that many juveniles tend to think that they can commit adult crimes. We're not going to tolerate that. They're going to be held accountable for any crimes they commit. But we want to work with our young people. We want to divert them from crime. We want to make sure that they're not engaging in activities that can be lasting throughout their lives. And I think with having our JADE unit, some of our nonprofits being available to help us, we can do exactly that. And Mr. D, I don't know if you want to add to that as well.
Just to say that it is certainly our intention to make sure that all people who are in possession of dangerous weapons are held accountable. That includes young people. While we also want to make sure that our juvenile system is one that treats children like children, the goal of the people that you see standing before you is to protect all of the children. Our center city is a place where children and young people ought to have a wonderful opportunity to make memories, to go, to play, to recreate, and the like. And so we want to make sure that we're creating an atmosphere where that can happen, and we'll use the law to do it.
This is Siobhan Riley with WBTV Charlotte. Speaking of juveniles, what is your message to their parents as well?
Yeah, so to parents, you have to be involved with your children. You have to know where they are. I think far too many times, parents call the police to police their children. I admonish parents to be parents, to make sure that you know where your children are, and if you are having difficulty with them, then seek those proper resources to help with them.
I'm Greg Jensen, WBG Radio. I'm curious,
So crime stats are up in Uptown, as we know, especially the violent crime stats. So why only doing this for the season? Why not do this 12 months a year to make people feel safe 12 months a year?
I agree with you 100%. We're launching now, but we will continue this initiative as long as we need to do it. We just know and recognize that this time of year you tend to have more activity, more foot traffic, that kind of thing. But certainly we will continue our efforts. I will also just look over at my major for Central Division because we already have some initiatives in place in the Uptown Crown, also our Entertainment District Unit. All the officers who work in the Uptown are committed to making sure that they try to mitigate violent crime as much as possible. So it's not that this is a one and done kind of thing. We will be continuing it, but we're just launching it right now.
Hi there, Evan Donovan of the SSC Channel 9. Welcome back to Charlotte.
Thank you.
Is there a disconnect right now between the safety of Uptown and the way people feel about the safety of Uptown?
I think what people have shared with us, there is a disconnect. Sometimes they don't feel safe, and certainly that could be for a number of reasons. And that's part of the reason we're doing this initiative, is so that people can see an increased presence of officers and an opportunity to talk to our officers, to approach us, to ask us whatever questions you have, to talk about that perception if you're feeling unsafe. The two should align, just like our district attorney said. You should feel safe, and also to Russ, you mentioned that. You should feel safe, period. That if you want to walk your dog, if you want to just go on a stroll or go running anywhere in our city, that you're safe to do that. And you should feel safe regardless of what the crime numbers are.
Two more questions.
Hi, Jeff Chamber with the Charlotte Observer. Drones have been spotted in the town skies around Uptown and some Tryon Street. Are these CMPD drones, and are they part of the operation, or will they be part of the operation?
I don't believe that we're using any drones at this time. Major, if you want to kind of address this, I don't believe that we are.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Major Gene Lim. I serve in the patrol operations, and particularly in Uptown. If you're seeing drones, we're probably going to get calls on that. We haven't launched that program yet. It is forthcoming, but we don't have any in operation at this time. Thanks.
Last question here. Nick Bazan with the TQ group. While I know a lot of the community and out-of-town visitors are going to truly applaud this partnership, what exactly, where's the federal zones that are going to be set up? I thought you mentioned that certain prosecutions will be federal. And then also, where's the funding for this
Yeah, on the federal part, so it will not be by zone. There will not be a federal part of Charlotte and a state part of Charlotte. It will be by crime. So if you commit a federal crime, we will take that. And for us, there's a variety of federal crimes, but mostly it's your worst of the worst repeat offenders. So if you're a felon with a handgun or something like that, we will take that case and take it to federal court. That doesn't mean that the state DA's office necessarily hands that case over. Sometimes there's a state crime and a federal crime, but we'll apply federal resources where we can, and we'll use our existing resources to do that.
And I would just close by saying, in terms of just budget, we're operating within our budgets, and we're not pulling resources from other parts of the city necessarily. We're relying heavily on a lot of our specialized units to be able to make sure that our city is safe. So other parts of Charlotte will have their regular staffing, have their officers work in those areas.
The statistics we shared today follow national standards set by the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting Summary Statistics. The information will also be sent out in our press release, put on our social media channels, and on our newsroom website. If you need the spelling of our speakers' names, our Public Affairs Division staff has that right now. Thank you all for joining us, and have a great day.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We'll have more news for you on the other side. just like that, we are back. What a huge night this is going to be in Charlotte. Feels like we say that almost every night as we get closer towards the weekend. But it's going to be an awesome Charlotte Invitational. If you remember, we tried to steal the Cincinnati Open about 2 years ago, bringing that high caliber competition to Charlotte. Did not win that bid, but still have this amazing one night, the Charlotte Invitational, and of course the 4 big names among many that will already be not only here tonight in Charlotte, but that many folks will see inside the Spectrum Center tonight. Venus Williams versus Madison Keys, and Frances Tiafoe versus Taylor Fritz. And in fact, I think they all joined a press conference a little bit earlier, so we're going to go to this right now.
Everybody for being here. We're really excited about tonight's Invitational, another showcase of world-class tennis. Excited to the conversation about what to expect. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Andrew to get the press conference started. But just thank you for being here, and thank you for the coverage and the time. We really appreciate it. Andrew?
Thank you, Will. Good morning, everybody. My name is Andrew Krasny. I'm your MC tonight. It's an honor and a privilege to be invited back to Charlotte, and it's a bigger honor and a privilege for me to introduce to you Taylor Fritz, Madison Keys, and Venus Williams. I'm making a joke, and Frances Tiafoe. So how about putting our hands together for them and welcoming them back to Charlotte? They've been here for 24 hours. So I hope that we have some questions to ask them about the Southern hospitality they've been getting from all of you here. This is probably the friendliest city that we've ever been to. I can tell you it really is special to be back. So my only request from all of you is that you let us know your name and what affiliation you're with, and I will come on over and give you the microphone. So it is all yours. Who is first? All right, here you go.
Hello, Christian Bass Knight, Christian's Court. This question's for Venus. Tuesday was a pretty eventful news day, I'd say, for the Williams household. You revealed your engagement photos. Congratulations, by the way, for that. But also that same day, there was news of your sister Serena's name being re-added to the drug testing pool, and that caused a whole commotion. She later denied a comeback, but I'm wondering if you had a chance to maybe talk with her about that. And then also, in your view, what's the likelihood of a potential Williams sisters doubles reunion in 2026?
Thank you for. Is this working? I guess it works. You got to get close. My goodness. Hey, I can only speak for myself, and thank you for the congratulations. And all I know is I can't get her on the court. She doesn't practice, so it seems very unlikely to me.
Thank you. Sorry, that's what happens when you have a pacemaker. So just to let you know, really questions about Charlotte, about how special it is to be back, and let's stick to as much tennis as we can. Here we go.
Hey, this is Cole Bambini with the WTAtennis.com. I have a question for Madison. Obviously, around this time last year, you had a lot of success in Adelaide and Melbourne. As you approach, with the kind of, I guess, from the U.S. Open and your time off, and I know you didn't feel well in Riyadh, kind of how do you get back into form to prepare for that swing? And has it felt like a year since you won that first career Grand Slam? And kind of what's, if any, is there any pressure like being the defending champion, for the first time at a Grand Slam?
Yeah, I think obviously there's going to be pressure being the defending champion, so it'd be crazy if I said that there wouldn't be. But I think it's really just kind of how you think about it. It's obviously a massive accomplishment, and it's going to be a huge honor to go into a slam for the first time being a defending champion. I am also very looking forward to just the whole Aussie swing. It's always one of my favorite times of the year, so really looking forward to going back. Obviously didn't have the perfect ending to the season that I wanted, but that's kind of the reality of the sport sometimes, and to have as much success that I did all year, I still finished at one of my best seasons yet. So I think just kind of using the next couple of weeks to work on some stuff, try to add some things to my game, and just hopefully have a really great start to the year.
Hey guys, Jeff Taylor with WCCB here in Charlotte. Welcome to the Queen City. Again, you have tournaments, you have majors that you play. This is for all y'all, and you can answer as you'd please. to be able to come out and do an exhibition like this or to play something like this, can you relax a little bit more? How cool is it just to be able to do events like this outside of tournaments and majors?
Taylor, take it away.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's definitely a different feeling than when you're at a tournament, and it's, I guess, more stress, more pressure. You know, we can have fun and focus on, you know, playing good tennis, but also focus on really just entertaining the crowd and making it fun for everyone. And I think that's always a lot easier to do than, I guess, when you're at a tournament trying pressure to win and, you know, all that.
Francis.
Yeah, no, I second that. Sorry, I was in a little bit of a daze there, but I totally agree. Especially coming in cities that don't normally have tennis, and you guys really appreciate it. Tennis here last year was unbelievable turnout, so happy to be here again, and hope everybody has fun watching us play, and we'll try to put on a good show for everybody for sure.
Venus.
What am I looking forward to?
Just the fact that it is an exhibition, and how much does that change when it's not an actual tournament match? Where are you thinking about the head-to-head, the fact that you've played before, or are you just coming out to have fun?
Actually, it's maybe a little more pressure because there's no other matches to watch. So if you don't do a good job at the entertainment, then it's not going to be a good night. So I think we have a lot of pressure tonight to do well. So you guys buckle up. But no, I think we'll get to soak everything in and enjoy the crowd. But for me, it's still important. And obviously, we're athletes. Our careers are so important, but we're entertainers. So I think we want the crowd to be able to interact with us and enjoy the night.
Maddie, when you do this, and I'm going to sneak in and ask a question, so I hope I don't offend any of you professional journalists, but if you do the scientific research, Charlotte has a lot to do with the fact that you won your first Grand Slam, wouldn't you say? I mean, you really kicked things off here with the love.
Yeah, I think starting here really was the key to my success in Australia, obviously. I had a great time. I'm very happy to be back in Charlotte and looking forward to it. There's a little bit of pressure because obviously last year I won, so I feel like I'm kind of defending that a little bit. So, as Venus said, we all really want to be entertainers. We hope the crowd has a great time, so I think that's really at the forefront of all of our minds.
Is to have fun. All right, next question. Yeah, yes, sir. Name.
Hi, Jorge Andres, CBS Charlotte, WBTV. This one really for all of you. You guys are all great competitors. You all put on a great show. But what's it like to turn back into the stands and see that little girl or that little boy that may not get to see the Venus Williams, the Madison Keys, the Taylor Fritzes, or the Frances Tiafos on a regular basis, and have you guys light that spark into maybe what tennis is going to be in the future for them?
Sheesh, that's heavy. It's real heavy. But yeah, I mean, that's what you hope, right? That's what you hope for. You know, when you're out there and you see little kids, you know, hopefully you're that person to inspire them to want to do anything at a high level. It doesn't have to, you know, so to speak, be tennis, but you hope to inspire them to do something special. You know, as young Venus Williams did for us. So we try to. We try to just be that great example, and hopefully we do a good job of that tonight.
Venus?
Oh, wow. I'm always a proponent of when you do something positive for yourself, you always help others. You never know who's watching or who's motivated by that. And I've personally experienced that in my life, even also really close to home with my sister, who motivated me so much. She never had to say a word. So yeah, even though some of the things we may do may seem selfishly motivated to win a title, but or to be our best, you know, just by that we motivate others. So it's just all a trickle-down effect. So, and I think for all of us too, it's like it's bigger than the dream because you never imagined that would be the effect, right? You just are out there trying to get yours, and then you spread the love.
And I think to Frances's earlier point, it's, I think, even more special for all of us to be able to come to cities that don't normally have tennis tournaments, and for especially kids and even just all of the fans. We really enjoy being able to be in person so that more people get to enjoy the entertainment of tennis and the love that we have for the sport in person.
Yeah, I don't know what to say now because I was actually just going to say exactly what Maddie just said. She beat me to it, but yeah, it means a lot coming to places that they wouldn't normally have the tennis, so they get a chance to watch it live, and then also just the chance with the kids after when we're not playing to take pictures, sign autographs. I know that when I was a kid and I went to tournaments or events, like I know how much that meant to me, so you know, I think it's important to do that as well when we're also not playing, and yeah, I try to not forget how much it meant to me as a kid.
Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte. Venus, specifically for you, though, too, you played tennis in a lot of different places. Can you say, you know, first glance, I know it's only been about 24 hours, but what have you liked about Charlotte? And could you speak on whether or not Charlotte is a place that could host tennis at your guys' level more consistently?
Was there TP event here? I don't know. No? Not so much? No. Okay. Why not? Never say never, right? And it's not easy to get a tournament. That's the hard part, is actually like finding the sanction to get here. But once that happens, then the sky's the limit. And there's just been such tremendous growth here on all fronts. I think everybody's moving here from what I hear. So, you know, you guys become a tax-free state, I'll move here too.
Venus, you were here many years ago playing an exhibition with your sister in this exact arena. Do you remember that, and how special is it to be back?
Yeah, I do remember that, and I think, yeah, Serena and I were playing, and I feel like that year I had like a major wrist problems. I think I could only slice the backhand, but I still showed up. It's like, I gotta show up. I can't just not come. So it's good to be back all these years later, and perfect time with the perfect crew.
Right.
Hi guys, Savannah Rudisell with Queen City News. Madison, Francis, you guys were here last year, and Charlotte is very much growing in how big the tennis footprint has here. How does it feel to be part of that growth and coming back again?
I'll let Maddie go first.
I'm very happy to be back. I was so blown away last year. The crowd was amazing. Everyone was so into it. I was told, and then I came to learn myself, that Charlotte is a huge tennis community. So being able to come back and see that and be a part of it, and hopefully grow the event to be even bigger. And like Venus said, who knows, maybe there'll be a tournament here one day and we'll all get to add it as a stop every year. So I just am very honored to be able to come back, and really looking forward to hopefully another amazing crowd.
Any more questions? Yep, here we go.
Hi, AC Wyatt from Sports Business Journal. So I'm going to ask you a business question, if that's okay. Just from y'all's perspective, and if we go Taylor, Madison, Venus, Francis, how's the business of tennis?
That's a big question.
That might be
I don't know.
above our pay grade.
I don't know which way to take that, but yeah, I don't know. I think probably depends who you ask, but I think there's a lot of room still for, well, not me, you know. I think things are going well. You see increases every year in prize money, in growth, so I think there's that, but I also think there's a lot of room for improvement. I think there's ways we could do things better to just make this overall package that we have better, easier to follow for fans, which would, I think, help grow the sport. But I'd say overall, I think, you know, tennis is in a good spot and the sport is growing.
I'll speak more so on the WTA side. Venus was obviously a huge reason as to why we have equal prize money, and that was a huge step forward in the business of women's tennis, but more so in women's sports. So I think in that respect, we are still making strides. I still think that there's room to grow, but I would love to see tennis be able to support more people. I know that obviously the top earners are kind of taking the majority of the prize money, and it's a very expensive sport. It's very difficult to get into it, to sustain it, to support it. So I think, in my opinion, the future of tennis, it would be amazing if we could kind of grow the sport so that it was a livable wage for more people in the sport.
Oh, I haven't even been on tour for the last 2 years, so I don't know what's really going on. So I've been learning from you two.
Francis.
No, I mean I definitely agree with Maddie. I think to over time continue to get it closer and closer, where it's more people can choose it as a profession, and you don't have to be one of the top best players in the world to make a real nice living. And I mean, it's getting there. I mean, it'll probably be way after we're done and retired. But happy where it's going. I think the game's getting a lot more exposure. You see more and more people, non-tennis fans, want to come watch the game, which is really cool. But I think, overall, prize money's been going higher, and I like where the game's going. We always wanted to be a bit better, of course, and critique things, but I think it's going in the right direction for sure.
It's Colby Beatty with the WTA. Hey, Venus, I know you're scheduled to play in Auckland here next month.
Mm-hmm.
I guess talking about your schedule as a whole, do you hope to play in the Australian Open as well, and maybe how much do you plan to play, in 2026?
Well, for now, I can only confirm Auckland. We'll see what happens after. And, of course, tonight.
Of course, tonight. Yeah, last question.
Christian Basson at Christian's Court. This question's for Francis. I know you made the decision to shut down your season a little bit early, and you parted ways with a few guys from your coaching team, David Witt and Jordi Arcanata. Can you kind of talk about that decision, I guess why you decided to make that move, and if you've already appointed a coaching or team replacement?
Yeah. I mean, I got rid of more than just two guys, but yeah, no, definitely just want a fresh start. I've been doing the same thing for a very long time. 28 and top of the year, I kind of just want to do something different. I want to just get a little bit uncomfortable and see what happens, and why not? I don't think there's any bad thing that can kind of come out of that. But as far as what's going forward, I guess you guys wait and see who I decide to bring with me and go on this crazy journey that we call life. So yeah, we'll see.
As long as you don't get rid of your MC, I'm fine with that.
I don't have control over that, so it's all good.
Before we say goodbye, I just have a quick question. I see you at the 1000s, at the Grand Slams, at the big tournaments. How unique is it to be at an event like this in Charlotte, where everyone's so friendly, and the fact that you don't have to put your heads down, keep your eye on the prize, that you can actually really relish in hanging out with friends, and the four of you are such good friends. How special are these opportunities for you?
I think it's amazing to be in a city that loves the sport and is so excited for us to be here, and then to be able to do it with people that I genuinely just enjoy being with and get to spend time with. It's always really fun, and there's, in environments like this, a lot more free time where we get to kind of talk and hang out and catch up, versus at tournaments when we're all very busy and kind of passing by and saying hi quickly. So being able to kind of just catch up is really nice.
Taylor?
Yeah, I think it's great to be here with all these guys, and I think that it's a more chill couple days than being at a tournament. We can really focus on just entertaining the crowd and making it fun. And like we said before, it's a place that doesn't have tennis, so the fans are very, I guess, excited for the event. And what I heard from Maddie and Francis, that the turnout was amazing last year, and the hospitality has been amazing since I've been here as well. So just excited to try to make it fun for everybody.
You'll have no problem making it fun tonight, that's for sure. Venus?
Yeah, it's literally called the Charlotte Invitational, so you got to be invited. So that in itself is an honor, and we've been so well taken care of from the moment we landed here, and I think that the city has welcomed us so well also, and I think there's going to be a lot of excitement tonight, and this will be the last time, or at least for me, before next year, that we can really enjoy the tennis with the fans. So we're going to go all out.
Venus, I'll speak on behalf of everyone in Charlotte. It was one of the easiest invitations ever to extend. It's an honor to have you here for sure.
Thanks.
And Francis, last but not least.
No, I agree with everybody. It's nice to come out and not, feel like, all right, I got to be super locked in and you're trying to achieve something, win the event or whatever case may be. You kind of just come out here and just, relax, see people you haven't seen, see what they're up to, see what their off-season's been looking like, and just coming here and enjoying the fans and enjoying the game of tennis that we all really enjoy. So I'm excited to come out there and play against Taylor tonight, and it should be a great time.
All right, we're looking forward to seeing all four of you. On behalf of everybody here in Charlotte, thank you for joining us today. Any last-minute questions, anything we can answer for you, we're all here for you, but we are planning on seeing each and every one of your faces tonight. So thank you for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you in just a few hours. Thanks a million.
Thank you, guys.
So as I said, an exciting night. If it's not already sold out, it's going to be a packed house at the Spectrum Center. No doubt about it. Let's go to our break, and then after this, we're going to have another weather impact, it looks like, just to let you know what wintry mix is headed our way. We'll see you back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're going to go to our weather impact team to see what the next 24, 48 hours and beyond will look like here, not only in the Charlotte metro area, but in the high country too.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle checking across the area today. It's still rather gray skies, kind of gloomy out there. A little sun trying to peek through as we take a look at uptown from our WCNC tower cam. Low temperatures this morning. We hit 30 here in the Queen City. It was 27 in Morgan, 28 Lancaster in South Carolina. Over in Wadesboro, they dropped down to 25. That was matched. Now, also definitely was a chill in the air this morning. High temperatures today, for the most part locally. We're talking about, I would say, over much of the area. We're in the low, even mid 50s east of here. Temperatures still below average, but not quite as low as it's going to get over the next 24 hours. Overnight tonight, we're looking for an interesting array of temperatures. Overnight, dropping only into the upper 30s here. That's a good signification of the fact that it's probably just going to be a cold rain here north of here. We see temperatures in the low and mid 30s, even upper 20s in the mountains. That's where that icy precipitation definitely will fall. We could see some accumulation in some of those areas. So tomorrow is a weather impact alert day with the potential for some wintry weather across at least parts of the area. Now, this is for the Boone region tomorrow. We're talking about temperatures below freezing in the morning with some snow there. Then by the afternoon up to the mid-30s and just cloudy skies in that area. That's for Boone. Now, for the I-40 corridor, that does include Hickory and Statesville over towards Morganton in that area. Tomorrow morning, they may see kind of an icy mix early on, but I think mainly just a cold rain in those areas. Notice the temperatures do drop back into the mid-30s between about 9 and 11 tomorrow. That's in the Hickory, Statesville, Morganton area. And for the Charlotte metro area, we're talking about temperatures all day long in the 40s. We just see a cold rain here, and higher elevations. Once you get up above us a couple thousand feet, there may be some snowflakes, but not expecting any accumulation. Just a cold, rainy day. So that wintry mix in effect Friday, early Friday till about midday. Then it's gone and out of here. Now, snow, sleet, rain mix mainly north of here, up towards places like maybe Mooresville up to Statesville. Then you get into areas up towards Boone, Blowing Rock, and those areas over towards Wilkes County. That would be snow. So use caution, dress warm all day tomorrow. Watch for those elevated roadways north of here. That would be the icy conditions in those spots. As we scan the skies, nothing here. We look back, widen the view out. It's really back to the west and the southwest. We see all of that precipitation mainly tracking to our area between, say, late tonight and early tomorrow morning. A lot of heavy precipitation down towards New Orleans in the deep south today. We're precipitation free today. Now, over the next 24 hours, things do change as that storm systems moves in our area. And then by tomorrow afternoon, it's out off the Carolina coastline. So really, I think it's overnight, early tomorrow morning through mid-morning that we see our better chance of that precipitation. But this is by noontime, everything is well to the east of us at that time. Futurecast, we take a look and show you around 11 o'clock tonight. Wintry precipitation north of here, just a cold rain here. All the way to 4 a.m., more cold rain here, I-40 corridor, wintry precipitation, and the cold rain up until midday, and then we just see dry conditions and cold, so that snowfall potential really, the I-40 corridor, especially in the mountains. You get into Virginia, they're definitely going to see some accumulation up there. Here's your Jerry Hunt Super Center 7-day forecast. We're 52 today. We're weather alert tomorrow with that messy situation in the morning. Saturday, that's Magical Toy Drive Day over at Bell Carolina Place. Remember to bring out a new unwrapped toy for a kid. I think things should be okay, just kind of cold, but put you in the spirit. A few showers to Sunday. I think a better chance we could see more rain. Just a chilly, rainy day on Monday. We're in the mid-40s on Tuesday, and looking ahead to the middle of next week. In fact, by next Wednesday, we're actually back into the low 50s. That's your forecast. Have a nice day, and be careful tomorrow all day long.
All right, folks, a quick 2-minute break. I promise we'll be back right after this. All right, we're going to go to this trial that's happening in Massachusetts. Brian Walsh is charged with first-degree murder in the death of his wife, Anna. And it's a charge that he's been fighting during this trial. So we're going to go to this. It's been very captivating with numerous situations that have kind of been expounded on inside court, which is why we want to listen in. So we'll go to this now.
Report for the iPhone 13 mini. You created this.
I did.
Okay. And what was the date range you were looking to create this for?
This was, December 25th, 2022 through January 3rd, 2023.
Okay. And I would seek to move this to the next exhibit, Your Honor.
Okay. Any objection?
No objection.
It's now in evidence as 168. That's the call log report between the dates of 12/25/22, 1/3/23 for the iPhone 13 mini.
Thank you.
Yeah.
168. Now, Your Honor, may I publish 168?
You may.
Thank you. On 168, sir, I'd like to direct your attention to the columns. Under parties, what does that designate?
Who the call took place between the two calling parties.
And timestamp, I take it, is the same as it's been last. What's duration?
The length of the call.
And when you see source info and it's biome and knowledge C, what is the significance of biome?
Again, it was another in the iOS 16 when that came out. Biome was a newer database from Apple, so this data is going to be in two different places.
So at this point in time, I'd like to direct your attention to the bottom of page 12, item 143. What phone number is being called, sir?
This is an outgoing call to number ending in 7966.
And what is the date and time of the phone call?
December 25th, 2022 at 11:52 a.m.
And what is the duration of the call?
33 seconds.
And if we could scroll up, Ms. Gilman? Thank you. And could we go up a little bit further to the next page, please? Continuing. All right, so Ms. Gilman, can you please continue up to further up, please? There we are. On item number 129, what is the timestamp of that, 129?
December 25th, 2022 at 1:40 p.m.
And what number is being called?
It's an outgoing call to number ending in 7966.
And what is the duration of that call?
1 hour, 22 minutes, and 33 seconds.
And could you continue up, Ms. Gilman? Thank you. Directing your attention to item 123 on page 10. What number is making the phone call?
This is an incoming call from 7966.
And what is the duration of this call?
1 hour, 27 minutes, and 7 seconds.
And what is the timestamp on this call?
December 25th, 2022 at 4:11 p.m.
Now, if we could go to item number 13, I believe it's the top of page 2. Bless you. Sir, what number is being called?
It is an outgoing call to number ending in 7966.
And what is the date and time of the call?
December 31st, 2022 at 9:52 a.m.
And what is the duration of the call?
4 minutes, 5 seconds.
And if we could continue up from there, Ms. Gilman. going to item number, pause if I may. Could we go to item number 9? What is the number being, what number is making that phone call?
Number 9, you said, sir?
Number 9?
Number 9. The incoming call from number ending in 7966.
And what is the date and time of that call?
December 31st, 2022, 7:27 p.m.
And what is the duration of that call?
0 seconds.
Looking at the item above it, item number 8, what number is being called?
It is an outgoing call to number ending in 7966.
And what is the date and time of that call?
January 3rd, 2023, 8:28 a.m.
And how long is that call?
15 seconds.
Does that mean that the phone's connected if it's 15 seconds?
No.
What can happen? What is an alternative explanation then?
Voicemail.
And do you see any, can we go up to 7 through 1? Do you see any incoming calls from the 7966 from entries 8 through 1?
No, I do not.
And do you see any calls longer than 17 seconds in entries 8 through 1?
No, I do not.
And Your Honor, may I have a moment?
Yes.
Thank you. And Your Honor, may I approach in that sidebar?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I was not exactly sure what's going on, but let's run down some of the latest that we have on that top left box. This investigation going on into this D.C. pipe bomb case that was planted outside the Republican and Democratic National Party headquarters on January 6th during the siege on the Capitol. So this person was arrested, Brian Cole Jr., he's 30, arrested and charged with transporting an explosive device and attempted malicious destruction by means of explosive materials. That was delivered by Attorney General or Attorney United States Pam Bondi, I should say, just a few hours ago. So what you're seeing now is the home of this man, Brian Cole Jr., who does live in or near, maybe I was going to say Washington, D.C., but I don't think that that's true. I do think it's in the eastern part of the United States. Let me double check on that. But even FBI Director Dan Bongino talking today and saying that they are focused on many parts of this investigation that is ongoing at this time. So just some interesting revelations. They have this still photo from the FBI video footage from January 5th, 2021 of when this pipe bomb was supposedly laid. But again, it looks like they are doing some heavy investigation work on this. They've criticized a lack of an arrest in the case. Lawmakers have in recent months. And even in 2023, the FBI, they had an award out there. They increased the reward for information leading to an arrest, where we're seeing today, which was from $100,000 to $500,000. So again, they were looking hard for this guy. So this man, the suspect, is Brian Cole Jr. He's 30. This arrest actually marks a breakthrough in a case that's been quieted or stymied by investigators for nearly 5 years at this point in time. There's been a lot of evidence for these people to have to go through. So even Attorney General Pam Bondi crediting investigators and prosecutors for sifting through evidence, she said, that had been sitting at the FBI, noting that no new tips led to an arrest. So it seems like they opened up the case and went back